Yeah,
I set
because
the
you need to
title
do
in
that
Twitch.
before
I
you
forgot
stream,
Thursday
right?
night, or it was
Okay.
Thursday night was wrong.
Yeah, I've seen so many emails where I get these notifications that channels have started to stream and the title doesn't match. It's like 50% or something. So it's
All the time.
common.
All the time.
So, and I have chat open, and yep, it works. Yeah, this is fun. I love when we just gab about stuff.
Yeah, this is gonna be good. That's why it's called Gabbin, right?
Yeah. Yep. And like you say, we don't have to have the biggest. You don't have to have the biggest show every time. So
Guy, can you hear Anna and me? Let me know if you guys can hear Anna and me just chatting and BSing here. I'm hoping so. Happy Sunday, long shot. Can you hear us?
hopefully, yeah. I don't think
I thought I reset my mic to, because that split little glitch.
Oh, yeah, they can hear.
All right, great. Whew.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
We're there for a second. Yeah.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Now I got to get this Reaper. That's my next project. Is get the Reaper ad updated.
Yeah.
We'll go get that work done. Whoops, that was me. I hit a wrong button and I did it twice. All right, well, we're a minute ahead. I was gonna shout them out like that, and I just restarted it. Duh. Get to see it again. Hey, David, what's going on? David, I linked you on a Twitter feed for this person, Dungeon Musings, that oh gosh, my brain just shut down. I hate when I do that. That Piazza.
Oh yeah, David Shepard.
David Shepard found, yeah. So, and I think that I was confused. I thought it was you at first. I'm like, what? Don't you know David Leonard? But it was another gentleman, Kevin something. It was Dungeon Musings, Your Greyhawk Musings. So you should have gotten that. I just sent that. I put you in the link. Just it was an interesting conversation. He's got some Night Below maps that are pretty cool. And I actually have a Night Below box set coming. I never had it. I just got. All right, there we go. Do I have a favorite module of all time, Lenders? Yes. And a lot of people are arguing me on it, but the original is Temple of Elemental Evil. By far, I love that. Just because I don't, people go, oh, it's not done, it's not completed. I don't care. I mean, as a DM, you're supposed to fill in the blanks, right? What's up, Extort? How's everyone doing? And then Shokanth / Tharsden is like a close second. I know a lot of people really don't like Carlos Shokanth's number one. I love Shokanth. Just it's awesome. Sorry, that's a nice emote, man. I love that troll emote. That is awesome looking.
Yeah, that looks great.
That is cool looking. Very, very cool. So that would be my favorite one. But there's a lot of, as far as references go, and I'll share tonight. I'm gonna show a couple things tonight. I got so much stuff on my table. I'm gonna show some things in this discussion tonight. We're taking it down a notch this week from having a Hollywood Squares of people the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
You know, knocking it down a little bit. It'll be a great discussion tonight. It'll be fun. Of course, I was not ready for that. And which button? How about this one?
There you go.
Rods of Lordly Might are awesome because they have a healing aspect to it, a door opening aspect. Whoever created that magic item, +4 spear.
It's like a Swiss Army knife.
It is. It's a cool item. It really is a really cool item. Just remember, all the time, Troll Lord Games is 15% off using that code. That's a permanent code for Lord Gazumba channel followers and subs. Well, and Tickler does say, man, what's going on? It's you over at Tiki Tiki. You were 3 miles away from my house and you didn't stop and say hi? Come on, man. You said you were there yesterday? I was running around a lot on Saturday. I had my, we had some, if you know him as Rocinante 19, he was, him and his wife and one of his sons was over. We had a Catan game and I actually won it. I hadn't won in a while. I'm very good at, I win Ticket to Ride all the time. I love Ticket to Ride, but Catan, I was on a losing streak. So, that's all right, man. Literally, you're 2 to 3 miles away from my house. All right, so the Kickstarter for Troll Lord Games goes on through November 11th for some great stuff, The Roads to Adventure. So check it out. And I'm going to, we got 726. Bum, bum. It's all good. Nah, I'm kidding. I'm just busting them, man. Just having a little fun. Yeah, the picture, that artwork is unbelievable, and I was like, that's an in-house artist, Der Gitano. And I was like, oh, I'd love to get him to do something like that, and then found out how much that artwork cost. I was like, no. So, all right, boom. So, I have had a lot of guests on. A lot of group talk shows, DMs roundtables, Greyhawk compilation ones. We're going to go back a little bit and we're going to talk my Shield Lands campaign going on, hit some history and some details on where we are, because this is something we're going to finish up the storyline arc that we're on right now before Christmas. So it's a good time to get back into this. The music sound funky slowed? That's weird. That's Canadian. Why don't you reload it? So. We're going to talk, go back to the basics a little bit here, talk about some things. Thank you, Skagith, for the... Yeah, Canadian, I just think it's, just reload. It could be that simple. Skagith, funware, yes. Some kind of fun. Cube of Force was cool too, and it had a keeps out everything button. Had keeps out all different sorts of things. It was like a six-sided die with six with different buttons on each, one button on each side. It was pretty neat too. So very cool. Shield lands. You notice Leonard's quiet because Leonard is not on, and Leonard sent Anna and me a late email saying he probably would not be on tonight, but we'll be okay. I mean, Leonard had like a streak of like 8 shows in a row that he was on. Let me come here. Boom. Good evening, everyone. How are you? I'm J.K. Lucas. I'm like an Anna with me tonight.
Hi. Yep.
Great to see you on again, Anna. I may have one or two of my guys, or none of them. I don't know, because my guys are lucky they can tell time. So, we'll see about that if they come on. If they don't, no big deal. Tim usually will hop on, but this is going to be an interesting conversation because we've had some momentous weeks. Probably about the last 2 months have been crazy.
Yeah.
And
you kind of missed the original purpose of Gabbin. Your campaign has kind of been sidelined for so long that now it's the topic of the night is your campaign.
Well, yeah, and we'll talk. I'd love to talk about other people.
Yeah, we can bounce. A little bit other stuff going as a reference against but your campaign should be the main focus of what you've done with Shieldlands, and then I can kind of come up with a few things I've done, and we can talk a little bit about where it comes from and whatever. So
it'll be a good discussion tonight, and I got, you can't see it, but I got shit everywhere on this table, all over the place, and I know I'm going to forget something, and I know that it can't go over everything, but I got my side screen working here, so I can go over my custom map from Anna. Thank you so very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
And
awesome.
Let's get this started first. So just remember, I'm going to push this hard, and Chuck's going to pay for it. So. Troller Games has and I've said it multiple times, hit that Tiny Earl. Go check out their Kickstarter for their new Winnie books coming out. It's really cool. What's up, Bill? It's going to be an awesome Kickstarter. I did it. I know that Phantom did it. I'm sure a bunch of you other viewers on here did it as well. But because of that, I'm going to hit this start. Good, Green Lunar. Yeah, that's awesome. That should pop up any second. So we're going to give away a couple gift coupons from Troller Games. I'm not sure on the specifics yet, but we'll give away 2 of them. So there you go. Normal exclamation point drawing. We'll put that up there. And during this discussion, of course, you got to be on for it. And all right, so. Anna and I first kind of connected before that Gen Con 2 years ago due to the Shieldlands, because Anna was such a fan of the Shieldlands. I actually found the original notes from Gabbin number 22 on the Shieldlands. So I got my original notes here. And I got some really interesting topics. But our Shieldlands campaign goes way back. And we can thank Marco for most of it. And Marco I abused his character something fierce. I felt bad about it in the early days, but I can track back to the first, I think, time we really adventured in the Shieldlands. Now we're at 892, and that's adventure number 186.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
back in the 80s.
It's going to tie in. It's going to tie in with a couple of things, and there's stuff's going to be scrolling through which you may not know. So, guys and gals, please feel free to ask questions, hop in, and share your experiences. I'm going to be blabbing a lot tonight, but
awesome. Yep.
Now here comes my bragging here. So when this came out, and this is, I don't know, 89?
Is that a still shrink wrap?
Oh, yeah. This is my shrink wrap copy of the Free City Greyhawk box set, right? Now, I got this one that I use.
Did you always buy Greyhawk stuff in three?
Yeah. So I got these. And then I got this, right? So this is it. And it's now my From the Ashes is my second copy. From the Ashes, my good copy, is not shrink wrapped, but it's pretty decent condition. All right. So we'll talk about that too. But when this came out, I got confused, really confused. And I don't know if you Yeah, yeah, Bill. Post any other time. You got me. You know me, and flipping through here, here's a picture from this, and that is Valderesa Sharn and Archer Jakartai. And all of a sudden it said in this, and I don't know where this came from, that the Horn lands, the Horn Society, and the Bandit Kingdoms had basically taken over the Shield lands. I'm like, where the hell did this come from? I don't read it anywhere else, but it's in
Well,
here.
there is a note that I discovered fairly recently. I missed it too. It was and people in chat can probably correct me if I'm wrong, but if I remember correctly, it's that Gary wrote these little notes in various dragons updates from Greyhawk that was basically little snippets of what's going on in the world of Greyhawk at different times, and they
Right.
were set after the original box set. And one of them that happened that I think is uh, written into the Living Greyhawk Gazette here, that the Bandit Kingdoms and Horn Society joined forces before the Greyhawk Wars to fight the Shield Dance.
Yeah.
So they were doing that some years before, and that might be when the box set is set at that time, so to speak. So that might have been coming from there, but it might have something that slipped in, or it might have been because some things I think slip into products without there being a master plan, so to speak. And a lot of publishers, they have a master plan, meaning they say these are exactly the outline. This was supposed to happen in the module, and then you flesh it out with the various monsters and stuff. But all the story is set. But some publishers sometimes forget, and various writers take liberty and just write cool stuff because they need to fill in the blanks, so to speak, and that get missed and not thought about. So this might either be something that Gary wrote and it was intended, or it might have been something that someone just decided to happen, or it might just been happened by accident. So I don't know which one, but it's
Exactly. And
yeah,
I don't know which one either, but it's okay. So we
yeah,
said, this is weird. And then
yeah,
Tim ran for me. I don't think Tim is on yet, and Tim may hop onto the stream.
yeah,
And this is in the original one that I have is in my wall of fame, and I wasn't about to take it down, but I
yeah.
have a photocopy from Tim's. So this Fortress Elendar, which is it's a third party. It's what is that?
Okay,
High
yeah,
fantasy adventure series from like the early '80s. I ran this. Now I'm going to move the map around a little bit. Hey, Wu Tang, what's going on? They got hit by Ias and the SL became the greatest exporters. It's just crazy though the way it came up. You know, it was just bizarre. That it was in that box set, and then it's just like, well, then they're taken over by Horn. Oh, now they're taken over by IUs. Just it was weird.
mhm,
It was a little bit of an anomaly. Now I'm going to move around. This is my map version, and we're going to come over. This is
yeah,
pre Greyhawk Wars, okay? And if you come over here, oh, there is Fortress Elendar right there. And I think we
yeah.
spelled it. Yeah, it should be the second L, but that's okay.
Oh,
So,
okay, then we
oh,
have to
we can make that
yeah,
change.
make sure you fix it. Put it on the list to be
I will put
changed.
that on the list.
Yeah,
So,
so we make sure we
Fortress
fix it.
Elendar this is a great adventure. We did actually a battle system event. This is adventure number 186 called Shieldland's Defense Fortress Elendar. This is also Bill Seshar scoring the first time Bill ever like played partially was back then. So we're kind of dating when this happened. Wow, Kane, thank you for that. Really appreciate it. Um, so if you can get a copy of this, check this out. Like I said, it's on my wall of fame. It's easy to convert over to 1E2E. Really easy, and it's really got a nice twist to it. And there's some great magic items in this that we use this day, like Prometheus Clay and the Shield of Prey and a lot of other cool things. So I love this one. Um, so they were successful. So Fortress Elendar exists in my campaign in this location here, really close to White Plume Mountain, as you see.
Yep.
Now we didn't touch this during the wars because it's very well defended. It's almost impenetrable, and that's part of the adventure. And at that time, so we did not touch that during the wars. We just left it where it was.
Hmm.
So that was our first time we did it. Now I did the From the Ashes implementation in my campaign as Adventure
Yeah.
2.
So how did that happen? How did the Shield Lands is still intact? Was never invaded by anyone, or how is it
Adventure
played
number
out?
218. It's called The Advances of Evil. This is the implementation From the Ashes, whatever we used throughout the planet,
Yeah.
throughout the Flannis in number 218. Now, we all know that my love for Valderesa Sharn, so who they just killed off in front of the ashes. And I said, no,
Yeah.
we're not doing that. So Valderessa sticks around. Um, Also, yes. Don't tell Hannah that. Yes, there is a bombard in front too. There's a bombard. Penoy archers. Tim, you're absolutely correct. It is, but I love it. And
Yeah.
Tim ran it for Hawk and Gazumba way back in the day, and what a great adventure it is. And so I loved it. Loved it. Um, 218, I implemented what we were going to utilize, and then the shield lands kind of were taken over then. Whoops, and I just see, I know I'm going to do this multiple
Oops, we
times.
lost your. Oh, there, come
Yeah,
back.
I see, I moved the wrong thing.
Ah, okay.
All
Yeah.
right, so here, this is my shield lands that we have to date. All right, and I have, what I'm going to do is we're going to jump forward, and there's a lot of adventures. There was Drow in the Shieldlands, had had a couple of other incidents in the middle here. I'll talk about them real quick. So another adventure I really like is this one, and let me pop this up. This is pre-streaming, all right. And if you can see Durgam's Folly, The Siege of Durgam's
Yeah.
Folly by Mike Merles. This is a
Ah,
Necromancer Games 3rd edition module. All right, Durgam's Folly is right there, smack dab in the middle of the Shieldlands, and that is a Knight of Ulick stronghold keep, one of the two. And you can see the other one just north is the Drake Estate, which was called Master of the Grave. That was Siege of Durgam's Folly was 437, and Master of the Grave was 467. So we're about 400 some adventures ago
yeah.
for that. So where is so, I don't do gunpowder. I don't blame you. SARS, we do gunpowder very, very rarely. It was kind of the high fantasy series had it as its capability. It basically
Yeah.
just shot little mini fireballs, kind of a magical one. Pretty neat though. So yeah. There's a lot of great things on this map that Anna has has implemented in. So we're gonna try and
Yeah,
set up.
this map is
Yeah.
this map is kind of a mishmash of a lot of LG stuff. First is the things from the Darlene map and some of the old locations from old, and then there's a lot of some Carl Sargent added some stuff, and then Living Greyhawk added a lot of stuff on top, and then on this J version, Jay took out some of the stuff he didn't want and put some of his own stuff in. So that means that this map is it's a blend of the various things and then a little bit of personal stuff. Just like my campaign map is the same way, but going in a slightly different direction. So it's a great example of what you can do when you personalize it a bit.
So let me take it one more step back here, Canadian, because I keep on forgetting that we have so many new viewers
Yeah.
going, since the last like 4 to 6 months. The Order of Ulick is based in the Principality of Ulick at Wales Castle at the southern tip of where the Pomarsh meets, and that's the bottom of the base of the Jewel River, the delta there. These I'm gonna scroll through some shields here. These shields each represent a sphere of influence of the Order of Ulick in different locations. Okay, because they're all. It's kind of like one of those Defenders of the Flannes kind of deals that. And there's like 222 characters, PCs and NPCs in it now, and of course I got them at the bottom. All right, let me show you this. Here's the one in the Shieldlands, and you'll see this on the map. That's Brian Blumklotz made these for me. That's the Order of Ulick symbol in the Shieldlands. You know my base logo with the 40 on it. That is the Shieldlands symbol there. You can see it on the map right here. Anna has embedded it into the map.
Yeah.
All right, there is that one. And then the other areas, the Pomarge and the base command is the Order of Ulick symbol. And then if we go down here and the following, I'll tell you other areas where we do main campaigning. Greyhawk was black, Selene is purple, Vespi Forest is green. Okay, and then there's the main one. All right, and those are the areas of influence where there's commanders, sub-commanders. So that answers your question there. But like the Knights Templar of keeps all over the place for influence. Correct, Bill. Absolutely. So hopefully that explains it a little bit. What's going on? Yeah, according to Casey and those crazies from Living Greyhawk, Will, absolutely. but we know how nutty those individuals are. So, um, Durgam's Folly is and the Drake Estate are pre streaming era. Now, what is Pursuer's Lodge? Are you ready for some ultimate cheese? Okay, you
Yeah.
can cheese me all you want. All right, on this. There are two NPCs I have running around, and I got a book that detailed a whole bunch of new undead. And there's you probably know what a lot of you know what a damp fear is. So I'm going to show you a picture, and I know I get beaten up for this a lot. And okay, so I have my cheese. Here we go. And they are one's a especially priest of Merland, and the other one is a ranger. Okay, so. Here we go. Here's the picture. Their names are Eric and Whistler. Okay, don't beat
Oh,
me up too much on that. But
we all
where are
came
they? Of
younger
course, I
when
can't
we
find it.
came.
It's probably there. There you go. Great paint jobs by Bill. There you go. You
Yeah.
can figure it out if you know movie jargon at all, but they are in the Shieldlands, and they are out of their hidden base is the Pursuer's Lodge, and they patrol the central parts, and they work with the Order of Ulick, but they're two on independent. They're doing it for the good of the Shieldlands. So yes, he has a shotgun in his because he's a priest of Merland. Merland priests can use smoke powder, right? 10th level. So there you go. Yes, it is cheese. I understand. You forgive me. Thank you. I appreciate the forgiveness on that, but we're having a little fun with this tonight. And by the way, thank you for so many people being on tonight and participating in this discussion. Like I said, feel free to ask any questions. All right. When we started streaming over 2 years ago, I had this massive idea for a Shieldlands. The Shieldlands had been taken over, half to 2/3 of it. And if you all know that Critwall was right, the island was reclaimed, right? Admunford
Yeah.
Island was
So
reclaimed.
taking over, IU's taken over.
Ayers had taken over everything, but Walworth Isle, Admunford was reclaimed
Oh yeah,
because
yeah. But
Vane had sold out
mhm.
Ayers because he was pissed
So
off.
yeah, so in your campaign, the Horn Society was overrun by IU's as well.
Yes, with the one exception, and we'll get to that
Yeah.
shortly.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So
Hey,
IU's,
Skaga, thank you, man.
yay, yay.
You will probably not see a monk tonight, so you'll be very happy. I don't think we will see many monks up here either. Um, so, also, Critwall was reclaimed.
Mm-hmm.
Scragholm Island was reclaimed.
That's the same for me. Well,
Yeah.
the island was never even taken, so to speak. That was just an attempt. But IU's is not good enough with Seaworthy, so he couldn't get it over. And Scragholm Isle was not taken, but Critwall was reconquered. So yeah.
Yes, but Brother Gregory's a bad guy, so that's okay. We're talking about PCs. We'll get to him. Trust me. We will get to him later tonight because Anna remembers that adventure. Oh my God, what a mess that was. So during the course of adventuring, most of the middle from Axport was reclaimed up through the Drake Estate. Okay, and once again, I'm moving the wrong. Oh no, I'm moving the correct map. Okay, the Drake Estate, Axport. So you got the Drake Estate running down here, Axport, running through this way, Critwall, Shield reclaimed, and then running up here, Warmark and Kinsept Mansion, and we'll get to that shortly. Now, one of my favorite references of all time. Hey, Jim, you're going to hear me talking a lot, just like you said in Discord, so thank you for that. This is fantastic. I've tried to get Bruce Cordell on multiple times. Bastion of Faith. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This shield reclaimed is in this. All right. This is the second edition. If you want to start out with making specialty priests, Heronius and Hexter are done in here. You barely have to do anything except create the full spell lists. So, how do you handle conflicts between nations and the changing of borders? It's a good question. It's a real good question. Thanks, Wiley. That's good for a hero point for Thursday night. Great question. Before Anna, it was tough because borders are tough to do. If you notice, a lot of this is still I use occupied, and I'm not gonna create. It's just a lot of work. I don't want to abuse that too much. Notice the county lines are on here. as
Oh
you can
yeah,
see.
those are the living Greyhawk.
They're the living Greyhawk lines. I
Yeah,
kept them on there. Probably could remove them, but
well, yeah,
they're fine.
yeah, I asked you, but that's something for a future update. You need to
Yeah.
figure out, so you have the political situation around your adventuring area sorted out, so to speak. So, yeah.
So at this point, before we're streaming, you have almost a crescent moon running from Warmark and Kinsep's mansion down along this road. And if you know, in the Living Greyhawk, there are all sorts of border forts all the way down this road. Crit Wall, the Shield Reclaimed, and we're going to go over some characters in the Shield Reclaimed shortly. South Keep, which is Anna's, which I kept there because it's cool, all the way up to Axeport, and then up this road to Durgram's Valley, and the Drake Estate is the most furthest north. In the Drake Estate was what was called a Grave Master in the original one, and there are two hallowed spirits of ancient, like a couple generations of drakes, a male and female husband and wife team that actually are spiritual guardians of the Drake Estate. So the baddies stay away from this location. That is the furthest point north, but you have this whole middle that it's all IUs, and the rest of it's IUs. Now I haven't taken Fortress Allendar. I just didn't even. It's like there, but I just wasn't about to touch that, right? So that's where we came to where streaming starts. Now,
Yeah.
Warmark, Kinsep Mansion are run by the Legion, which is a mercenary group, which are not all good aligned. Bill and Seshar Scorn. Bill has Kierg Stahl, a lawful neutral cavalier. He is level. What is he now? 13th. He's high. Now 11th or 12th, 13th in that level. Very nasty cavalier. And Krizana, who's his sidekick, she is powerful in her own right. She's a cleric mage, and she worships Hexter. But she's lawful neutral aspect, and we've already discussed that with.
That's the one aspect. Yeah.
That's the one we were talking about with Gary Hooley, and Gary goes, "Oh, that
Yeah.
makes total sense." In this case, it's more war and combat. So Kinsep Mansion is actually a module. I believe it's in one of the last dungeons. It's a really good module. It's a winery. And Warmark was built and created on a grant from the Knights of Holy Shielding to the Legion to defend against the following.
Oh, one comment. South Keep, I think, is Living Greyhawk. I think it's from the Living Greyhawk map. That's, I think, where South Keep came from. Yep.
The Free Reavers.
Oh,
one of my favorites of all time, and that's why it was here to defend the southern lands, running from the Free Reavers.
so what do you have? What's the story behind Free Reavers? The Free Reavers. Who are they?
That is a great. All right, that's a great question. Get out another book.
Okay. Yeah. I'm so curious.
Books.
Of these half enigmas that I'm so
I love.
Yeah.
Notice the covers have fallen off of both of these.
Mm-hmm.
Please feel free to sign up for the Troller giveaway at any point as well. Eyes the Evil and the Marklands covers are both falling off of these.
Yeah.
Eyes the Evil details only two, and it's a very, very interesting story. The two are named Eldrin Bloodspitter, a specialty priest of Erethnal, and Sharon Vel Valinar, one of my favorite NPCs of all time, with the Sharon smile. She's like at this point, she's 14th level fighter, chaotic evil. She likes to put Sharon smiles on people, and that's a throat cut from ear to ear. Okay, so they're all crazy. They're all chaotic evil. The Iusians stay away from them, and they're in here noted. The Free Reavers' lands are not patrolled by Iusians. They leave them to the Free Reavers. They have Smokewall Castle, and there are a lot of 15th level, 14th level, 13th level characters, all evil, all really corrupt, and but they don't like they don't like anyone. So they are the wild card. I believe that the Ravagers that are in a 3rd edition book are based on the Free Reavers, and they just changed the name. That's my opinion on it, but I'm not sure. Yeah, don't you hate that? So you use them so much, though, Galger, that you gotta appreciate that you have them, And I'm like, hey, I've gotten great use out of them. So that is, and we're gonna talk about the Free Reavers as well, because we've utilized them during streaming. So, all right, I'm babbling a lot. Any questions as we go, please let me know. All righty. So we get to about October of no, August and September of 2018. We had been streaming for like 2-3 months. Now we got like an average of between 3 and 10 at this point of viewers. And I wanted to. Mark's character David Gradavis has been wooing an NPC, Ashley Winchester, one of the Winchesters, for 30 freaking years of real time. And the Gradavises are from the Shieldlands, and I'm going to slide this over and show you. Past Ringland. Oh, the Gradavis estate got destroyed during the wars. There it is, right there. Right, and that's on Anna's map. The Gradavis estate is here. So the Gradavises are, but they're all Knights of Ulick. They're not Knights of the Holy Shielding. They've all saw the Knights of the Holy Shielding having issues. We're going to get to all that fun stuff hopefully tonight too. There's factions all over the place in the Shieldlands. So I decided I'm going to run my first mega stream, and it's called Events Before David Gradavis's Wedding. Anna, I'm trying to think. I don't think you and I knew each other yet, because this is like August of 2018. I think it's right,
Okay.
because Gen Con is right then. So
that
Mark had
was probably
gone.
when I talked to Marco
Yeah.
at Gen Con 2018. Yeah.
No Leonard Cole, unfortunately. So
Well, unfortunately, not today.
yeah, Leonard sent us an email, and he's like, I don't know much about the Shieldlands. Plus, I'm feeling, so I'm going to take the night off. I said, no problem, Leonard. We're getting spoiled having Leonard on like every twice a week. So
Yeah.
we'll see him. We'll see Leonard on Wednesday. So all right. So this is adventure number 823. Now we're only at 892 now. Our first stream was 821. This is only our third stream, and we broke it into multiples. The wedding is finally set for David Gradavis and Ashley Winchester. There has been a discussion in a previous, in adventure number 514. There was like, during the war, how do we set government? This was a whole adventure that we did. They determined they're going to have an oligarchy of 3 characters, and it's going to be by election of named characters that are landholders currently, Knights of the Holy Shielding, and anyone else of importance that's deemed alive. So what happened during this was the following, and let me find these characters. First off, everyone loves Valderessa Sharn. So Valderessa Sharn is appointed one of these 3. Come on, update. There's Valderessa. She's one of the 3 oligarchs to run the Shieldlands currently. All right. Secondly, Lady Katarina Walworth, which is Homer's niece, right? Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Very, very charismatic. Very, very, know-how, no nonsense, not political, not taking bullshit from everyone. But really getting the job done. So she's the second one. The third one that gets elected is none other than David Gradavis, Mark's PC, which I thought was kind of cool. And there's look at how old those figures are. They're one's a Raul Partha. I don't know what. Bill, do you know what David's figure is? Is that an old Reaper or Raul Partha? I'm curious as to what figure that is, but. Ashley and David. So David becomes the third oligarch, and they're elected to a 5-year term. So that's where we start. And finally, I'm like, I finally said, okay. So those 2 got married, but this is the events before the wedding. Picture up now is from this. That's the Shield Reclaimed. There are very important people in this. Let me show you that while it's up. Here's the Shield Reclaimed. That's where I placed it. It probably technically should be in crit wall, but I didn't want to I said, Anna, put it right next to it, right?
Yeah.
So it's a thunderbolt. Wow. I would have not known that. And yeah, you know what? Do we have enough time, Jay? Sounds like a 2-part discussion. Well, if it becomes 2 parts, it becomes 2 parts down the road. We'll get some. We'll cram in. We'll cram in some stuff here. So you have Mother Annan. She is a high-level priest of Heronius, detailed in here. Very pro Order of Ulick. Okay on the Knights of the Holy Shielding. My Knights of the Holy Shielding are a little different than Anna's. My Knights of the Holy Shielding are political animals. A lot of them are lawful neutral. and a lot of them are
Oh.
the cause of why the Shieldlands got taken over. This is Mother Phala. She's kind of special ops, another detailed in this Bastion of Faith book. I'm telling you, get this book. You will not regret it.
Oh yeah,
Trust me.
it's great.
Get
Yeah.
this book.
Mhm.
Very
Very
pro Order of Ulick as well, and in fact rumor has she has a fling going on with one of the members of the Order of Ulick. I won't talk about that at present, but yeah. Templar Lugo, he's the champion of the Bastion of Faith, the Shield Reclaimed. He's like a 15th level paladin. They're the three main characters. There's more in here, but I pulled those three out. I didn't want to overdo it with PCs that were not in the Knights of the Holy Shielding book. So just give me a little background on canon named. Now, this is not technically placed in the
no, but
Shieldlands,
it's so Greyhawk and perfect fit for
but
Shieldland.
it is discussed
Yeah.
here, as you can see, Greyhawk Earth. It tells you where it should be in crit roll, so it's right there. It's as a recommendation. Okay,
Yeah.
so I placed that in here. Yeah, it's available on Drive Through RPG.
Yep,
It's called
that's what I
Bastion
got.
of Faith.
hmm
It's called
Yeah,
Bastion of Faith. And see, I
I
think it's funny that Mel Gibson's on the cover. If you can see next to the woman, look, they got Mel Gibson right there guarding her. Yeah, you can't tell me that's not Braveheart. Yeah, so there you go. Pretty ironic, but anyone can find. Thank you there, Gaetano.
Yep,
Thank you so very
perfect.
much. Yeah, it's a really, really good book. Now, fast forward to Dungeon 113. All right. Some more background on information. Here's the cover. Dungeon 113. Alrighty. This is right in that era of Living Greyhawk.
hmm
This is going to tie everything together. Greyhawk's Knights of the Holy Shielding, Valor is Our Blood, Living Greyhawk approved. Okay? So this article is 3rd edition, and it details the following characters, which I utilize in my campaign as well. Now, it also details Knights as a prestige class, which is, you can become a fighter, a paladin, a ranger first, then you can be, if you make certain eligible things in 3 and 3.5, you can become a prestige class. So a lot of these, and this drives me insane, a lot of these characters have 4 classes, and that just wants my head to explode, right? I just can't. I can't deal with that.
It's
So
3.5.
it's 3.5, Anna, right?
Yeah.
Katarina's in here. Okay, Lady Katarina's in here. Her levels and all detailed out. I've converted them over, and I have a nice chart here. So Katarina right now is a dual class. No, I made her 14th level Paladin Cavalier. Okay. All right. So there's David. David is a dual class human. He's a specialty priest of Ilmater 7, Paladin 10. Now look, see, now I'm going to have to be getting everything out all over the place. I got it right here. I switched them into my folder. Yes,
Yeah.
now Priest of Ilmater 7, Paladin 10. Fighter Paladin, not Cavalier. Once again, Ilmater was in my campaign before the Greyhawk deities. Ilmater is, the deity, the second deity behind Heronius in my Shieldlands. Take it as you were. So Thunderbolt, probably early 90s. Yeah, that's not David's original figure there. He changed it up. So, oh, thanks, Gaetano. I appreciate that. And like I said, I'm babbling, so I'm gonna just keep on throwing information out. Slow me down if I say something that's okay. Please do, Anna. You can slow me down as well.
No, it's no problem.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Okay. Franz Torkeep. He's in this article in Dungeon 113. Franz Torkeep is a 12th level Knight of the Holy Shielding. What is that? Well, you're going to find out tonight. He was a Fighter 10, Knight of the Holy Shielding 9 in 3.5 or 3.0, whatever it was at the time. I made him a 12th level Knight of the Holy Shielding in my game. All right. Inkosi. Inkosi was Fighter, Ranger, Thief, Knight of the Holy Shielding. So I made him a dual class 7th level Ranger, 9th level Knight of the Holy Shielding in my game. Dual class human. These are all detailed Knights of the Holy Shielding. Leomand Oiramad, Fighter 2, Cleric 7. Oh my god. Knight of the Holy Shielding 4. I turned her into just a 10th level specialty priest of Heronius. Simple in my game. So she's actually a priest. Alrighty. And then we can talk about Eric Blade and Whistler a little later. Some other noted characters. David Gradavis, his uncle Railstone, which you've seen in a lot of adventures. He's a dual class paladin priest. He's the exact opposite of David. They both dual class, but in reverse. You also have Jelaine Chauncer. She's a Cavalier NPC. Sasha Silvacek, lawful neutral Cavalier. That is Bill's as well, and she is running in that Durgam's Folly area. And then you have two lawful neutral. One's a Cavalier, one's a Saxon. You have Randall White and Chet Bluegrass, who are like the Thorn members of the Knights of the Holy Shielding, and we'll get to that a little bit here. So sad to hear about Thunderbolt Minis. Yeah, so wasn't Artur Jakartai Shieldlands. Cold he was. He was, and I kind of wrote him out. They placed him, if you remember, during the Greyhawk Wars. In this, what they did was with Artur Jakarta. Great question, Cold. They took him when Valderessa gets killed, and they move him into the Furiundi at a fortress in Furiundi. I had it that Valderessa and Artur had a falling out during the Greyhawk Wars, and he left and did that and stayed in Furiundi because he was heartbroken that she basically spurned him off. So that's what I did. I kind of wrote him out of my game in the opposite. So there you go. All right. Hey, David. I know. Back to work. Oh, David, man, you only had all that time off. So, good to see you though. Thank you for hopping on tonight. I am babbling a lot tonight. I know, but trying to go. Oh, I appreciate that. Even Gary's lurking in the background there. So that's a good thing to see. So that was a great question, Cold. That's what I did. I loved Valderessa, and the reason I liked her was Mark's character, David, and her had a relationship going back to the days when we were adventuring in Greyhawk City before From the Ashes. And I was like, oh my god, they freaking killed this character off. So I just couldn't do it. So that's what happened there. But that's okay. Make Greyhawk your own, right? That's kind of the talking behind that. All right, so babbling, yes, babbling pretty well. We're still, when we get to Adventure 823, it starts off in Crit Wall, and there's major things happening. And I'm going to start the scroller. I'm going to hold the scroller off here. I'm going to click this off here. I'm going to put the first picks up. This should be it. Okay. So the Knight of the Holy Shielding Army is on the march, and there's a lot going on, and there's a meeting because the second and final term of the three oligarchs, so they got reelected, and they're only allowed to do 2 terms, and their 10th year in the game is about to end. So what's going to happen? This meeting starts. It ties in when David's getting married as well. So Randall White, who's been the Stunod and the pain in the ass of the Knights of Ulick and the Knights of the Holy Shielding, takes 1/3 of the army and sees an opportunity. And Anna, you'll remember this. Marches up his troops up through John Doe, up through Durgam's Folly, up through the Drake Estate, to Walworth's Crossing. One of my okay, and
I
so
love that name. It's
yes,
cool because it ties into the area so well.
Thank you. So Walworth's Crossing's been abandoned, and here's a picture of it. Notice I don't have underlays yet on my table, so this is pre-underlays before we even had them. But a lot of miniature building authority. They go noting that there is. When they get there, they find it's not unoccupied. The Theocracy of the Pale has seen an advantage here and has started putting settlers into the Shieldlands because there's just abandoned towns everywhere because everyone's dead, right, or undead. So What's up, Phantom? Vane is dead finally. Do you keep an estimate of the common year? Yes, I do. I have a timeline. My common year is like 622, 623 at this point. All right. Just note. Remember, Blue Box's game is in this too. And when we do crossovers, I just don't talk about it, right? But we've been playing for 40 years, so the times have flown by a little bit here.
Mhm.
But note that I didn't use Living Greyhawk at all. Now I'll use some bits and pieces from these, like that article, but I don't, none of the Living Greyhawk stuff. If I did, everyone's dead. I mean, they killed off so many great characters in Living Greyhawk. But that's all right. That's neither here nor there. But it's a great question. So we get to Walrus Crossing. David says we got to go up there. We don't know what the heck this Randall White's going to do. We heard rumor that there's this army of undead zombies up there, and they find when they get there a couple things. So let me scroll through. So here's a picture of Walrus Crossing. They find that the army of undead has been slaughtered by the Knights of the Holy Shielding. And this is 1/3 of all the forces of the Order of the Holy Shielding, of all the troops that are left in the Knights and all the Shieldlands. So when they get there, there are like 3 in the one keep with the now see, I can't scroll backwards. There are 3 members left of the shield, the Theocracy of the Pale, and you see you see over here where the what scaffolding is. That's a church that's been converted. They've also renamed the town Lights Reclaimed Pillar, which none of the Holy Shielding people like at all. When they get there, they find there's only 3 members left. Everyone else has been killed from the Theocracy. And this guy is the brother of Magan Starrand, the head of the Fighters of the Light in Greyhawk. All right, and his is Ernest Starrand. Him and 2 of his followers are here. The Holy Shielding Knights wipe out the undead army in one night. They slaughter it, and they celebrate, and they all get drunk. And when it becomes dawn, they're all back. Every zombie has reformed, and guess what? They all die. The entire army gets slaughtered and killed. Who in the Boneheart Eagles forces is in command? Great question. You're going to find out shortly there, Cold. I promise. Because he is in this fight. Okay? Great question. Because Vane has been killed. We had just run expeditions to the ruins of Greyhawk. If you know that adventure, Vane gets killed by Ayus in it. He says, "You've thwarted me for the last time," kills Vane, and then gets caught in the God Trap a second time. If you ever run that, and we ran that right before we started streaming, so it's not Vane. So we need a team of researchers, at least 20 people to review. You know what? I know, Gitano. That's why I want to go over some of this. I got to start writing this stuff down, but I got a little trick for you. So the entire army of undead is back. You can barely see it on this picture here, but when the adventuring party comes into town, they find Chet Bluegrass with one leg and one arm missing, if I recall, out outside of town. He Randall White's right-hand man, and he has survived, and he is in bad shape. So they save his life. They come into town. They parlay with the 3 members of the Theocracy. They find that Randall White is inside. All limbs have been ripped off, tongue removed. The Iusians have done him a number. So then the entire army is destroyed, and all of those zombies now are added to this great zombie. Couple that with this picture here, and you see the pit up top, the little fire pit. You go immediately to the right. That is Pan Shizek. Okay.
Oh.
Okay, that's Pan Shishek. I'm going to show you the miniature figure that Bill painted for him. So he is here, and you see a Type 3 demon, Type 4 demon, a whole bunch of Iusian elite Orogs are here. And this is the adventuring party fighting them along with all the undead. Yes. So I went pretty crazy to our first mega stream, for having 10 viewers, So,
Yeah.
but we had Naz and we had a couple other people there, and that's Panzerjek there. How do you determine the
Oh.
results of large scale battles? We don't do battle system anymore, Dorgrim. We actually do the combats out. We do this combat will determine larger combat, if that makes sense. Okay.
Also, you don't even if you have like 100 enemies and stuff, you play it out, or maybe
Yeah, there
you
was
just use.
about, what do you think, Bill? There was about 50 to 8. Now there's about 80
Uh-huh.
zombies, all
Yeah.
different types of zombies. But they're worried now. This zombie, they have this one day.
Hmm.
Why is this zombie group force coming back?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I simplify when you have large battle. Let's say that the characters are manning a battlement and there are like hordes of enemies coming at and they're trying to. Then what I do is that in I think it was fourth edition had what they called a minion that had 1 hit point. So you hit it and they're gone, so to speak. And what I did was that I thought it was kind of simple to just have it if they hit or miss. So I gave the minions, if I have lots, if there's more than 20 enemies, I don't keep track of more than the important NPCs. Let's say that you have like hordes of undeads coming to storm
Right.
a wall or something, or you have thousands of enemies coming up. What I do is that the minions have basically 2 hit points per hit die. So then I just assume that whatever. So if you have a 10th level, if there's like 2 hit dice, level 2 monsters, then if they hit for more than less than 4 points, like 1 to 4 points, they're still alive next round. If they hit for more than 4 points, 5 points upwards, they're dead. So I don't need to keep any record whatsoever. So the more powerful the monster, the more you have to hit them. So and usually it doesn't. The big, I think the biggest bossiest monsters I've had that I've used this for was a bunch of like a demon abyssal horde, and things, if they hit them for more than 10 hit points, they were dead. Less than 10 hit points were like 12 or something like that, or 15 or whatever. It was something like that. And that was easy because I can have tons of them just coming. And it's basically the issue becomes, do the characters stay and try fight, or do they run away or hide, so to speak? And I want the players to get the feel that these enemies were going to come until we're dead, so to speak. So or something like that. So it's more like a time thing. But there's various way you can do it, and I just, and then I have another system for when other monsters and stuff fight each other. You just use hit dice both as attack, defense, and hit
That's kind
points.
of like what Battle System did a little bit,
Exactly. Yeah.
except with
Yeah.
breaking and all that.
Yeah.
So when we did Fortress Elendar, the outside fight, we used Battle System. Then we did the
Yeah.
adventure part of it.
Hmm.
We
Yep.
got away from that because it just was not what my players wanted. We
Yeah.
instead, what
That's
I
the
do
thing. Yeah.
is kind of almost do with a Battle Techian thing,
Hmm.
and I'll explain to this as we get to the Trials of the Legion adventures, which we're actually in the middle of now, which we haven't done in like 4 or 5 or 6 months. We
Yeah.
got to finish.
Yeah.
So we do a series of adventures, and the scale in this combat is super large. You got to remember these characters are all 11th, 12th level. So this fight going on here is pretty nasty with the characters that are in it. And so you can see down the left-hand corner where there's all these Orogs here, and you see this guy with a cape in the left-hand corner. That is Alan's character, Missioner Starlight, a quasi-elementalist, and he's like 11th, 12th level. They're pretty nasty elementalists, if you know from second edition, and quasi's light and radiance and lightning. So that's how we do it. Now we'll ask the question: multiple attacks against less than 1 hit die is during the world of pre-specialization before they did multiple attacks due to that. So we eliminated that and never implemented that because a 13th level fighter specialist is getting 5 every 2 now, one-handed, if that makes sense. Do they have men-at-arms followers with them? No, because followers all have red shirts, Canadian, and it just clogs up the field. So if the retainers and stuff are not, it just is too much, right? And another thing, when you get too much on there, it bogs down the game. And I've learned this: the longer the rounds go, the less entertaining it is for my players and for people watching. As you can see, group initiative. If I did an individual initiative, look at this, just there. If I did an individual initiative, it's going to increase the 3, 4 times. and it's not gonna be fun. So we've got you got exactly. So the retainer thing is something that it's assumed if the Cavalier has them, but they're not putting them into the combat and to have them get slaughtered. It's adventuring party style tactics. And if you've been watching, you'll rarely see retainers of mine. Now we have an occasional henchman go in. You rarely see me utilize them to just have them slaughtered. But so yes, tactical accuracy versus heroic fantasy. Exactly. Exactly, Gitano. And it's just it's preference, and I'm not saying, please um, note this. I am not the purveyor of what's right and wrong in how you DM. I'm not. I am what I've done has been from 40 years of playing with my friends, and we do stuff that makes sense, and we constantly tweak it, and we constantly make a change here and there. We're actually talking about changing the way we do some treasure divisions, um, and that's how you should do it. And a good DM will do that to make the game as fun for his players as possible. So just note
Yeah.
that is where um, that's where our evolution has been.
Yeah.
So
And
Scott,
yeah, and I want one more. When I used
yeah,
what I call the background battles rule, when I use hit dice against, let's say you have like there's the dragons and the hordes of enemies, and let's say the characters are in a big fight. You want to have there's a huge battle between lots of good guys against a lot of bad guys. I had example was during the war with Ayus in Foryundi, and there was like 5,000 on each side or something, and the characters have a mission within that large battle. And I wanted to just not come out from the top of my head because I didn't have an idea of how the battle wanted to go. I wanted it to be kind of it. So that's when I used the hit die method, and I just rolled a quick roll, one d20 roll on each side, and you can kind of tell how the battle was going. And I did that each round and told the players each round what was happening around them. Like there's a dragon over there, you have some demons over here, some knights are coming now, or, and then the characters have to kind of maneuver through. And as soon as the characters engaged in something, then it was full battle. The rest was just done as a description of what was going on in the background, so to speak. And that was kind of fun because I didn't know what was how it will things will unfold. I wanted
yeah.
it to be kind of random and up to chance a bit. And also often I let the players roll for the good side, the side they were on, just so that became a part of the big fight, so to speak. And then they can kind of pick and say that, oh, that thing looks nasty, so we run up and fight that thing, so to speak. And it worked kind of, but it's up to what your style of play and what you and your players like to play, so to speak. Sometimes you just don't want to complicate it, and you don't want lots and combat and overhead, so to speak.
So once we get to the Trials of the Legion adventures, you'll understand what I've done, and you'll see they had to
Yeah.
choose which of their characters went where, and we've done 4 parts out of 5, and we haven't gotten to the
Yeah.
fifth, and we're going to do the fifth by the end of Christmas, I promise. So in this fight, Panzashek is there just as a sidebar. He's kind of laughing the whole time because they've defeated most of these zombies, and he knows they're all going to reappear tomorrow, the next day. What the hell are they going to do? So they finally figure out. Someone remembers way back that, and that is a different scene there. I only put 2 in. So someone figures out from way back. Oh my gosh, I remember at the Drake estate, there's this thing called a grave master, which can control undead and bring them within a 25-mile radius back every morning. So they're thinking, we got to figure out where this grave master is. So down the end of this road, as you can see it way down and to the left, there's a sarcophagus mausoleum. They go down, and who is it that is the grave master? Are you ready, Cold? Are you ready, everyone who knows the canon? He's been ripped apart by Ias, and he swears he has a wish left, and his wish is to come back and take vengeance on everyone, including Ayus. He's Vane is the grave master here. So that was my little trick.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
25 miles. Anything they can raise anything. It's
That's an awesome ritual.
yeah. I should have brought that. I thought I brought that book up
Oh,
and I didn't.
I'm going to definitely steal that as one high level
I
unwritten
will share
ritual or
that
something.
book
Yeah,
next week. I'll bring it's a third
yeah.
party book I used. Vane, Vayne. It's Vane. It is Vane himself who has been killed
Yeah.
by Ayus and has yeah. So Vane is the Grave Master. They kill the Grave Master. They take Randall back. Who this town has 3 live people in it, all individuals that are not Shieldlanders, and they're told there's a theocracy force coming to relieve them. What do? Well, they said there's not much you can do at that point. They headed back because David's going to get married and all. They are successful, and they said we just got to leave it to chance that hopefully Shieldlanders will come back now and reoccupy Walrus Crossing. We'll see in the future. I have a little future story for that. So that is the first adventure we did for the Shieldlands that we streamed. Okay, and that was adventure number 823. Okay. Jump ahead to this one. Great twist. You like that? See, I thought some people would like that who knew
Yeah.
Vane. So that was it. And now they think Vane is dead permanently, finally. So let's hope, right? Jay will bring back things that people don't like. You know, if anyone thinks that Michael Baton, who was decapitated a couple weeks ago, is not permanently, well, we'll see on that. That's Harvey. All right. Adventure number 855, Awakening at Radiant Fork. So this was called, what was this called? North Fork or something like that, Anna, right there? And I was like,
Yeah. Hang on a second.
South Fork, North Fork, West Fork,
Yeah. It's
some
called
East Fork,
East
something like
Fork.
that.
Yeah, it's East Fork.
It was
You
East
have
Fork,
West Fork and East Fork, and I think those are living Greyhawk, if I remember
right?
correctly. I think they're from there. Yeah.
So, did they leave a garrison at Walrus Crossing? Canadian, it was only the adventuring party because the entire army, the Shieldlands now had lost another third of what was left of their army in the Knights of the Holy Shielding. So what are they going to do? There was no one to leave. So they made a deal with Ernest Staran that said, you will allow Shieldlanders to occupy this town as well and not under your authority, and you're going to get along so we don't want to have to come back and do something about it. And he agreed. Remember, lawful neutral. So that's where they kind of negotiated with that. We're going to get into more of the wonders of the theocracy people entering the picture here right now at Radiant Fork. All right, so let me get out my notes here. I got everything everywhere. Okay. I like to refer to the written word here. Here's Awakening at Radiant Fork. This was a kind of little sidebar story I did. Adventure number 855. This was the Keep group, Shieldlanders group out of the Drake Estate went here. So East Fork was not destroyed or damaged during the wars, and no one could figure out why. So, but recently, and this is after, about 6 months after Walrus Crossing, all these juju zombies and vampire spawn started appearing, and no one knew what had happened. Turns out that there was a tower, and you can see the tower in the background of this picture. You can see it over there. That was semi-destroyed. The tower was of a mage that was so hardcore that they didn't, the Iusians knew about him. Well, it turns out, here, I'm just going to summarize the story. He was becoming a lich, and he messed it up. So he never was a lich. So the word was, you don't want to go to this town. You don't want to mess with this. So they left it alone. Well, the theocracy who had entered the town with the Shieldlanders went into his tower and disturbed this guy who's like not alive and not dead, one of those failed liches, and really pissed him off because he was still trying to become a lich. So he took vengeance on the town and started killing people, and that's what the adventure was. It was kind of a cool what the heck's going on deal. I know I'm not telling it exactly the right way, but so they had to fight juju zombies, some demons, skeletal guardians, and a lot of vampire
Yeah.
consorts of his.
Cool. Yeah.
Yes. And
The
his
good
name was,
vampires, so to speak, not the
yes,
good ones. Yeah.
his name was Lord Monroe. Lord Monroe was like I said, not a human, not a lich, but in between, because he just,
Yeah.
you know how that old table that Lennon made this table up, how to become a lich, and then there's a
Hmm.
chance that you're just
Yep.
stuck. Oh, that's what happened to him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for all these years,
That
and
was
he
a
was,
Dragon article back in the day, wasn't it?
yeah, it was like in
Yeah.
Dragon like 3 or
Yeah.
4
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
whatever.
Because I
So
read it long time ago
move
when
them.
I
Oh,
when I got the
I
PDFs.
apologize. I apologize. I try. Thank you. My bad. East Fork is Radiant Fork.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry there,
Yeah.
Sars Gallagher.
On
East
the
Fork.
LG map and on my
Yeah.
public map, it's East Fork, and Jay renamed it Radiant Fork on
Yeah.
his map. Yeah,
So
in his campaign.
it was renamed Radiant Fork by the Theocracy, who found another town where the Shieldlanders were not killed, but they all had fled. The town was not destroyed because the Iusians never went into the town, but the Theocracy people came in and go, oh, a town that's in perfect condition. This is now Theocracy of the Pale people. And the nosy Theocracy people go into the tower and disturb this guy who's working on his experiments for 50 years, whatever time frame it was. And now he's like pissed, and now he's going to start declaring, well, I'm going to use you for whatever I need at this point. Screw you. And so that's what happened when they came into town. Is that a rugby ball I see in the background? Oh, no, that's no. All right. No, and I'm kind of sad because my team has really lost it this year. This is a Super Bowl 52 Philadelphia Eagles championship Super Bowl commemorative football. So there you go. But nice eyes on that. So always on camera a little bit there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's see. What a question. Where are your modules carved hills from? Oh, they are called GeoHex, and that company is actually back in business. They're on the West Coast. You may be able to find them. The stuff is pricey. We used it for BattleTech in the late 80s, early 90s, and we've used it ever since. And it's great for doing elevations. And I actually have it on the table on Thursday night. I use it to this day. Yeah, so. Oh, there you go. Dragon 26, thank you. Blueprint for Lich, and Best of Dragon 2. Thank you, Katana, for linking that.
Yep.
Yes. Thank you. All right. So here's the fight. There is one not crazy Theocracy of the Pale individual, and she comes into play in a future adventure as well. Sister Bertha. Okay, I'm very boring on names. Sister Bertha is now, and she's Skagith. Don't kill me. And she's in that orange in front of the church. She's a monk. Sorry, I forgot. But she's an NPC. But Brother Bruno and the rest of them have gone into mess with the semi-lich. So the adventure is yeah, GeoHex is awesome. The fight goes, there's juju zombies everywhere. There's they're trying to protect all the villagers that are from the Theocracy, as you can see in this picture. They're fighting their way up to the top. There's demons. There's a skeletal announcer there stating that everyone's life is forfeit. And they finally go down and they defeat this half-lich guy. And then, BER, Sister Bertha says, I will remember what you've done here. Thank you. You have my word. Solemn word that if you need something, I will be here for you. Remember that, okay? And that is a lawful neutral Theocracy of the Pale person. So they have defeated the Lich, and that's where we are. And then that's Adventure 855. Now we go to Adventure 869. This is where I start what's called the Trials of the Legion series. We've done 4 of these. There's 1 to go. This is the one, Cold and everyone else, that this will determine the direction of the Shield lands once these series of adventures are over. So, yes, I will even give you. There you go, Skageth. For that, I'll give you a no head, the tier 3 head just for that. So, there you go. Thank you very much for the follow to me too tall as we're approaching our goal for the month, and I really
Yeah.
appreciate that. So, all right, you have this picture here is of, and let me move this. So note this: my theocracy people like renaming towns. All right, because it's their town now. That's the way they see it. So that's why East Fork is now Radiant Fork.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Walrus Crossing. Notice on the map, it's still Walrus Crossing. It's not Light's Reclaimed Pillar. We'll get to that in these adventures here. All right, let's go over to this. This is adventure 869. This is what's this February of this year we started these. Kind of got it away from it because Mark had to stop playing. So, but we're going to finish this year. I don't want this to hang through 2021. All right, Warmark and Kinsep Mansion. Warmark is the tower to the left. Kinsep Mansion is the winery building to the right. Okay, on that map, they're not that close. I can't, this is where if I want it all on the map, I gotta. There is a distance that distance is not correct. That distance is 8 at 12-inch movement rate. 8 rounds of movement between those two locations. There's nothing I can do. It's actually colder than usual at the beginning of this year, and there's snow on the ground in the Shield Lands. That's what I have set for the beginning of this adventure. So, hey, what's up, George? George, I left it downstairs. So
Hey,
Lexfire
George.
22 sent me a really cool wheel that he crafted, and I left it downstairs. But I will show everyone in a future adventure. It was very, very kind of you. Thank you so very much for doing that. I can't wait to use it in an adventure. It's great for an arena. It's great for inns. A lot of cool things. You may have seen one on Blue Box. It was really, really nice of him to do. So thank you so very much. Okay. Trials of the Legion Part 1. Slaughter is the name of the title. So this is Warmark, their troops, the adventuring parties, all the characters that you see in the upper right hand corner. They're on the border and they're fearing an attack by the Free Reavers to start as Ayu's troops are moving throughout the country now in the Shield Lands, and there's fighting going on all over the place. They're on alert. They're fearing that the Free Reavers are going to come across at any point. Well, and there's our picture from that angle. The Free Reavers are on the other side of that river. You can barely see in that picture. Okay. Notice I have basic troops out in this one. So please note that I have guys with red shirts out in this one. And that was all the only ones I showed, which is, once again, I didn't want to put hundreds of picks in. Let me go back here. Preview update. Okay. I always forget how many I put in each. Okay. Do. So what happens here? The Free Reavers come across. There's a feign attack on the keep. The Free Reavers come across. They did not send any of their people initially to Kinsep Mansion, and they go start slaughtering all the servants and all the people at the winery, because that's what Arifnal people do, right? So there was a moment where there's no defenses there, and my guys are just running through the NPCs and all the people and they killed almost everyone. The tower's barely damaged, so the whole adventure they're going off trying to save all the people at Kinsep Mansion. I thought that was pretty interesting. The fight went okay. They did not kill any major Arifnal people, but this got them pissed off, which is what I wanted to do. I wanted to get the adventuring party all pissed. So hopefully everyone keep on. Like I said, feel free to ask some more questions. So Anna, what do you think of that tactic by the Three
It's
Reavers?
cool. Yeah, I think it's so cool because I've never used the Reavers, and I'm really keen on having them as a faction in my upcoming campaign. Not directly,
Here's
but
their
one
logo.
that is out on the fringes, depending on what the characters do and what direction they're heading. So I'm really keen. It's one of these things that I will not detail, but I want to have a picture of what they're up to and who they are and what their goals are. So I know that, okay, now the campaign goes in a direction where they should be a part, so to speak. So it's one of these factions that are on standby to
Thank
be
you, Skeg.
included. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was This
Well,
and
yeah,
this
they have
heraldry
the
is new
new.
to the map too. And I had a previous one. I really like this one.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
love
because
it.
I didn't like the old one much,
Yeah.
and I'm actually not sure if that was the old one was my construction or design, or if it was somewhere else. But I didn't like it much, so I actually made a new one, and this is. Yeah, this is a bit my own design, so to speak, and yeah, the old one was my design, but I upgraded it because I didn't like it that much. So I kind of took the basic same idea and just tweaked it a bit. So yeah.
So Canadian, that's a great question. I would have allowed them to place some of their characters. They didn't play. They didn't place. And they didn't. Oh, there's no military significance at Kinset Mansion. It's a winery, right? So, but that was the whole point. That's the Reavers are the most underhanded, slimy individuals there is. They're kind of even worse than the Iusians. They kill for kill. Just that for the fun of it. So if they had put one or two player characters there, they probably would have died because they would have been overwhelmed. Because I think I had like 8 high level Reavers over on that side of the map. Now they killed a couple lower named ones, but they didn't kill any of the major ones that had come across. So most of them got away, but they took out a couple. But I wanted to get this thing started with a real bang, right? So that was a fun one. And like I said, these are all available on YouTube. They're all the old ones are still on YouTube. So let me scroll through here and get to Mother Phala actually, and she was in this fight, healing, trying to help and heal as many people as she could, and actually fought in this. I used her as an NPC for the first time in an actual combat. So she was actually stationed at Warmark for the Shield Reclaimed. Even though you don't use red shirts in your battles, your players have access to them to hold location. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And there were some guards over at Kinship Mansion. They were all killed too. So, needless to say, this whole initial fight off or advancing by Ayus, they knew that armies were coming and they were on alert, and they just, hey, I caught them off guard, and that happens sometimes. I'll catch my guys off guard once in a blue moon. So be it. That's part of the fun of being a DM, right, Hannah? Sometimes you get to
Well,
kill
yeah.
people.
Well, you have to, yeah, sometimes you want to, and sometimes you kind of design almost kind of try to figure out a way to get the catch the characters off guard or the players off guard. But then sometimes it just happened. You don't even think about it. It random encounter, just go, hey, where somewhere. So
Can be
that,
a
yeah.
jerk sometimes. I can be a real jerk. I'm talking about me. Sometimes I can be a real jerk sometimes.
Well,
Yes,
as a
not you, not
DM,
anyone else.
yeah.
Me. Uh,
Well, yeah, but I think that as a DM, you need to be a jerk at
yeah,
times in order because pissing off the players at times is part
absolutely.
needed in order to have a good game. I think up to a point, just like when you watch a movie, if the hero would just go from success to success through the whole story, it will be kind of boring. So I know some players probably just want to go from success to success and they don't want anything, and it will uh, kind of
Yeah,
slip ups or problems. But I think just like a good story needs its setbacks, and I think a good campaign needs setbacks too at times. So
yeah, and you can see if you look at this picture carefully, you can see guards in front of the town. You can see a
yeah,
lady out in the fields. They're all dead. They're all
yeah,
killed.
yeah.
And
But I
yeah,
sorry,
I
go
was going
ahead.
to say, cause it's so far apart, they're moving forward movement rate. If they're moving
Yeah,
12 or even hasted, they're round. It's like that scene in the movies where they're running and getting nowhere, and that's what
yeah,
they felt
yeah,
like because they had to run all 96
yeah.
inches of to
Yeah,
get to
what
that.
I think is important is that you don't. It's like some DMs you have when I've been a player, it's like I can tell right now that the DM wants a setback for the party, so he will just throw
Yeah,
whatever at us as until we kind of half dead, all of us, and then I don't think it should be. It should feel like it's happening for good reason, not just because the DM wants it to happen. It should happen because it's an interesting twist, and it's bad rolls from the players, meaning you have bad luck, and the or the NPCs are really clever because that's what that NPC or monster would be real clever, so to speak. So I want in-game reason for it, not just like because the DM wants to, like, now I want to dole out some damage and get to them. So, but yeah. So even
I
if you're railroading, you need to railroad with finesse, so to speak. So yeah.
To answer Cole's question, so let me just go back to events before David Gradavis's wedding. In this picture here, okay, you see the due north of, in the left corner, you see the guy with the cloak. That's Mishner, the elven, and you can see with the pick. That is Krieg. Krieg was the head of all the Orogs there, so there's a named,
Yeah.
and so, but they killed him
Yeah.
off just as an example of a named baddie that's
Oh
not
yeah, I
human.
think Cold Steel. But yeah, in my campaign, they're everywhere. Meaning, IUCN troops are predominantly non-human. And I have tons of them. So I have lots and lots of non-humans. So they're like orcs and orogs and all sorts of stuff. Even trolls with names and stuff. Yeah, I have tons of things that are. So I think my campaigns are probably a little bit less human in some areas than, but it depends. You can have session after session where you don't see anything but humans, and then all of a sudden when I use attacks, there are hardly a human to be seen, at least none alive, so to speak. And so yeah, I had one when you have a troll tribe that a bunch of teenage trolls who've been chased away because they were obnoxious, so the tribe didn't want to have them around. So they chased off the teenage trolls. So they just were pissed and angry and whatnot and needed something to kill. So they walked around the neighborhood and found this little village of people and just rampaged like crazy. And that was a lot of fun in a way. And it was, yeah, that was going haywire. That was one of these encounters that I never thought would be that damn difficult. But trolls that have no regard for their own life and health and get angry beyond anything, damn, they're tough.
So the forces, if you look on a grand scale, we're talking 5 to 10,000 on IU's side, and probably at half that at most, probably a third of that on the Shieldlander side as all the movement's going. The question to Ilnaval is, Homer's assumed dead. I never ran City of Skulls. My guys didn't have interest. And I was like, I just didn't see a need. I like the Katarina Walworth, his niece, who's very charismatic,
Exactly.
taking over. I like that much better than
Yep.
Homer. Homer's out of the picture. So,
Yeah.
and Katarina is now one of the 3 oligarchs of our Shieldlands. So, good
Yeah.
questions.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, all right, back to that's Adventure 1, just to get them all pissed. That's basically what I did there. All right, so Adventure 2. You ready? Part 2 of this series is called Reunion. Alrighty, this is an area they've been to before. Oops, and see, once again, I moved the wrong thing. All right, here we go. Exeter's Bastion. Exeter's Bastion, the story goes, was a fortress that was easily taken during the wars with Ayus and from the ashes, and shouldn't have been. Turns out that they found out the history on this goes back to our old antithesis from the Knights of the Holy Shielding. Randall White's father abandoned the fort right in the middle, and no one knows why. So turned or something, and it's a stain on him, and that's why he is the way he is. So it kind of turned in some things there. There's a big fight going on. Here's the picture. You can see up ahead is Exeter's Bastion being rebuilt by the Iusian forces, and there's a small encampment of what's left of the forces of the Knights of the Holy Shielding. All right, and that
And
is that
that's where I
picture.
have Gensal in my
Yes, you
campaign.
do. You have the Gensel
Yes,
horde. Yep,
yeah, Gensal,
absolutely.
and that's where the Iusians that now opposes the Shieldlanders, that's where they hang out, so to speak. That's their base camp to try and keep them in check. But Lady Katarina and the old Earl, I kind of the way I saw it was that Earl Holmer, he was old and frail and was kind of going on the defensive, and he was also worn out because they've had a war with the combined forces of Bandit Kingdoms and Horn Society for several years. So he was kind of worn out and old and frail. So when Ayus came in, that overwhelmed him, so to speak, and he was
Absolutely.
taken and so on. But I also have Lady Katarina, Holmer's cousin, is interesting because she have been one of King Belvor's advisors
Is
and
she a
top
cousin or a niece?
a cousin.
Oh,
I
okay.
looked it up. I'm looking at
All
it
right.
in
So,
Living
okay.
Greyhawk. According to Living Greyhawk, yes, dear
I have
cousin.
her as a niece. Okay.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
but
It's okay.
yeah, that's yeah. You can go either way. So she is she was because Belvor appointed her to be the ruler of Shieldland, so to speak. So so the story, and this is something for my players will figure out in the campaign. So this is some of the spoilers, so to speak. But she was one of Belvor's advisors, and the reason for that is that she is kind of Homer's or one of the Wolverines, but she's actually a gold dragon, and she is
Oh,
she's Arkyle's daughter, and so she is an upcoming, and Arkyle wanted her to have a kind of human education, so to speak, so to
wow.
become a human. So when she was really young, meaning 100 years ago or 150 years ago, she was placed with the Woolworths as to be raised, her human,
Interesting.
so to speak, to be raised, because dragons often do that because they want the dragon to get a human shape. So good dragons, they place their little hatchling in care of elves or humans or whatever in order for them to create that human persona, so to speak, because they can turn into one individual, so to speak. So she was placed as Woolworth's cousin, and you have to realize Woolworth is old. And she was like a baby 80 years ago. So she's like 100 years
Interesting.
old. Yeah, she's
Hmm.
like, and then she was like 100 years old in dragon terms. So
Wow.
so, so she was like she was like a 10-year-old 80 years ago, and so everyone wondered why she doesn't age. She aged very, very, very slowly, and she goes back and forth and stuff. But the secret
Huh.
has been within the Woolworth family, and then she when
Hmm.
she became like a teenager in human terms, when she was like 180 years old or something as a dragon, she leveled up because then she had the basic training with the Woolworth family, and she became one of Belvor's advisors and bodyguards, and because Arkell want to have that close connection, and Arkell has his base in Selene. And so Belvor wanted a dragon ally advisor, and because that is like it have like having nukes in the basement, so to speak. So that way Belvor taught her, so she became a very trained paladin of Heronius and leveled up and so on and so forth. But she's in fact a gold dragon, and now when the Shieldlands fell apart and stuff, Belvor asked Katarina, you kind of grew up there, you have a connection, you go over and take over, and she has, and she's brought in some other dragon helper and stuff. So now they revamped the Shieldlands back in, and they're making it into a good cult, so to speak. So she's the leader of it, and she's like a 16th, 17th, or 18th level paladin of Heronius, and she's a gold dragon. So she's a damn powerful enemy, so don't mess with her, so to speak. She's now some hundreds of years old dragon, and several hundred-year old dragon, and powerful. And she's now gathering all sorts of to her banners, so to speak. And she's been at it for 20 years now.
This is what I like about the
Yeah.
Shieldland so much.
Yeah.
It's varied based on who's DMing the area. I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly.
everyone
You can do
there's
so
no
many
two
cool things. Exactly. You can do a
Shieldlands
lot
that
of
are the
cool.
same.
Yeah. Yeah.
with
And
everyone, which
it's
is really
that
neat.
way you can have your knights in shining armor, you can have your bad guys moving in and big battles and stuff. It's a cool battleground between good and evil,
Yeah,
and you can kind of
exactly.
introduce a lot of the yeah. So in that way it's kind of interesting. And it ties into back in the Great Kingdom days, and you had one knightly family and they kind of grew old and stale and was overwhelmed.
Old
And
and
then you had
stale.
yeah, but it was more formality than actual capability, and that with the bad
That's
economy of fighting wars that he wanted to prove that he could fight by himself, and then he lost. So and now they're coming in direct. So now they're basically a part of Furundi's effort. And now the interesting thing now Belvor is old and frail, and he's on the soon to will not be around much. He's in his 80s something, and old and frail. So now Furyundi is in that situation. So there will be interesting in my campaign. I will roll every week or every day or so to see when Belvor would die.
oh my
And
gosh.
yeah, so it will be interesting because he's old and he will die from old age if nothing else. And so that will be Furyundi might be up for turmoil too. So that's something that might happen or it might not happen. So I want to have these things because I don't want to know if it's happening. I just want things to happen and then we have to deal with it, so to speak, in game. So
Randomness is always is a good
yeah.
thing.
Hmm.
Having them deal with it,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's a cool take, and
Yeah.
I've never heard that from any with any
Well,
other
Cold
perspective. I
Steel Penguin has some. Oh, sorry, I interrupted you,
is it,
but he
does
has.
Eyes have any dragons helping him? Probably.
Yes, in my campaign, he has two of his most formidable guardians of Doraka and bodyguards are two abyssal shadow
Oh
dragons.
my gosh,
Yeah,
that's pretty
that's
nasty.
some of his two. Yeah, his two guardians, city guardians, so to speak. They're the guardians of Doraka. Is a pair of abyssal shadow dragons, and they are damn nasty. And that's why the lady Katerina and her entourage is the opposite of that. So Ius is now careful. He doesn't even send in his biggest because the Shieldlanders now can respond, so to speak. So and there's also an interesting because Morgenstahler hates these Iusian abyssal dragons too. So Ius is kind of reluctant to send them in, even if he sends both of them. The problem is that then all the other dragons in the area don't like abyssal intruders into what is their realm. They hate each other, but they hate the abyssal shadow dragons even
Oh my
more.
god, I can
So
imagine.
so it's kind of if you send them out to fight in the shield dance, both Morgenstahler, the green one, and the gold silver ones in the shield lands might all gang up to kill those dragons first and then fight each other. So I use they are good for home defense, but right now they're kind of hampered because they're not the best defense, and dragons sniff out each other fairly well. So you can dragons can hide from a lot of things, but they have a hard time hiding from other dragons, and they see through. A dragon can almost always see through other dragons. Mostly, there are exceptions to it, but most of them can detect each other. There are a couple of cool exceptions. So yeah,
So on a great note, and I
yeah.
didn't know what the giveaways actually were. Um,
All for tonight.
yeah, but then so Chuck, of course, has always stepped up,
Yeah.
um, and so I was like, hey Chuck, I'm going to be pushing out your giveaway, your Kickstarter, and I was like, can I have two? Can I have either this or this? And he goes, you can have both. So we got four. They're smaller, okay, but we got four giveaways tonight. We're going to have two
Wow.
digital drawings for Shadows of the Halfling Hall, the digital copy, and then two $10 gift cards coupons as well. All right. So we'll have four. We'll have four giveaways tonight. And they'll all be digital, so I don't have to worry about mailing anything out, and that's wonderful. So Fritz does live, doesn't he? He is, and absolutely,
Fritz
Fritz
lives.
will
Yeah.
live forever. So, getting back to this, if you look in this picture here and you see the around the fire to the far left, and I've used that figure multiple times. That is Jansen Reynald, and he is in canon, and he's in The Eye is the Evil. He's one of the two knights that are in Ringland. You know, when because they can't go into Ringland because of the antipathy. but he's come out because they're so desperate for commanders. And to the far right near that fire in the white, that's Torvi Elderhearth. I got a thing for women from the TV show Vikings. Who doesn't, right?
Oh
So,
yeah, they're
well,
awesome.
yeah, there's Torvi. And I've showed you pictures of her. I actually wrote up a sheet of her. She's an Inquisitor, lawful good Inquisitor, subclass Paladin in my game. So I'm going to use her as a future NPC. Hopefully, if she doesn't buy it during this whole set, but she's kind of has, and if Tom's on, she has a thing for Tom's old. He's old, man, even for my game. So Pellinor the Golden Paladin and her have hit it off during this adventure. He's like in his 50s. It's pretty funny, but it's cool. So they are figuring out how they're going to assault. They're going to assault this tower. They're going to assault this rebuilt Exeter's Bastion. The fight goes on, and they just said, let's just damn the torpedoes. And they do it, of course, and the group moves forward. They have split their adventuring party up. I said, some of you have to go here, and the ones that don't are going to have to go in the next mission. This is how I handle this with all these Legion characters, because they're all like 10th, 11th, 12th level. So they split the party in half. You had to decide. They didn't know much about the adventure, but they split them all up. Fight goes on. At the end of the fight, and here they are. That's Bill's main character. That's his Cavalier here, the main guy, the
I
leader of the
love
whole group.
that scene with those battlements.
Yeah, and
Awesome.
I got the Len ruins there and all sorts of
Yeah.
things. And you can see there's going to be an underground part of this as well. They find and for this picture you can see it in the far left. They find where Randall White's father was supposedly interred, and they're going to attempt to try to uncurse him, and whether that's successful or not, don't know. But someone shows up. Are you ready? This is where I went really nuts, and I love automatons like the Apparition Qualish, and there's a couple others. Someone shows up in a metallic automaton of a bullet. And it's going around killing all the Yauzians, and they're like, they don't know who it is. And they're thinking, who the heck can it be? So they're not sure 100% who it is. But a lot of these, there's been defections of Knights of the Holy Shielding to whoever's inside it. So they're not sure. They have their suspicions of who it is, and maybe one of my guys could share that. So, but this person goes off, assists them, gets the stuff from Randall White II's tomb and takes off, and that's the last they see of him. So Captain Nemo, yes, as number. So we've used a couple of other of these magical creatures where if you ever played the Twofold Talisman from Dragon Magazine, there's actually an automaton of Darth Vader in it. If you ever did that adventure, and I don't want to ruin it for you, but no, automaton, just like an Apparition Qualish, right? Yeah, just like DV, Tim. You remember DV? Yes. So same thing. Pretty cool. So he takes off. So the fight ends. They're successful here. They retake Exeter's Bastion. The Knights of the Holy Shielding that are there reoccupy this. It's still damaged severely, so that's why it's not been rebuilt yet, because we're not done this whole series. If they are successful at the end, Anna, you may change that back to yellow possibly in the future, but
Okay.
right now it's
Yeah.
still destroyed. Walt there, just limbless Randall White is my guess. So there you go. So how can a human fit in a small compartment? The answer is, if you don't have any legs, maybe you possibly could fit in. So there you go. Thank you, Walt, for that possibility. So I think Randall White has returned in this automaton. So, all right, next adventure, part 3 of this, and I'm going back and forth in all my notes, and I got shit everywhere. Part 3, adventure number 871, Perspectives. This is the one that Anna's like, oh my God, this is the one that we go north. We go back to Walworth's Crossing to start. Okay? They get to Walworth's Crossing. This is the inn, and they see a remarkable sight. This is the other half of the adventure group. Everyone here is getting along. There's Shieldlanders living here. There are Theocracy of the Pale people living here. everyone is living together, which they didn't think was ever possible. So they find from the previous adventure, they find Mr. Staran, right? They find Ernest Staran, who says, "I kept my end of the bargain. Now you need to do something for me." And that is, you need to go north to another settlement where there's trouble. Homer's Hold, where we've tried to reproduce what we have here with Shieldlanders and Theocracy people getting along, and it's not going too well. And that's the meeting that you see in this picture. So the party says, we feel obligated to do this. Thanks, Longshot. Good night and good luck. If you got to depart, I will say, hey man, if you hung on as long as you could, I will. If you win one, we'll get it to you. So I appreciate it. If you did sign up, it's cool. The town is split in half. Homer's Hold. Half the town is Shieldlanders. The other half is Theocracy people. These Theocracy people are hardcore, lawful neutral to the core, and they don't put up with. They have, as you can see, there's a flogging station and there's stocks out there, and they make examples of people. So this is really bad. And the Holy Shielding side, they are all no food. People are dying, and they're very healthy on the Theocracy side. So in comes the party into a situation which really irritates them. And there's the town all split up in half. You can see they've put up a wall between the two spots of town, really infuriating the party as they show up. It's like, this is, I try to really push their buttons. I really do. So what it turns out is that an old character, Brother Grigori of the Blinding Light, and a couple other individuals have really overtaken what has happened in this town and just corrupted the other Theocracy of the Pales to their bidding. Oh God, Mistress June was her name, Joon, and she is a real mistress of the nastiest type. Mistress June and the gig. Oh, this is where the giggler came from. I had, so we had a lot of fun things. We had the giggler here, if you recall. Someone said bring the giggler back. We had the craze one. We had the summoner, and we had Brother Grigori, and they are not taking. They are like, this is our town. We're gonna do things our way, or you're all gonna die. And there was a huge fight. And Anna, do you remember anything about this when Alan had one of his characters actually say, well, if that's their law, so be it, because they publicly flogged the head of the Knights of the Holy Shielding there for him actually crossing onto their side of the town to try and negotiate with them. And he goes, well, that's the law, and it just got it's like, yeah, exactly, Tim. It's like Eagleton and Pawnee almost in the Parks and Rec. Exactly. So what does the symbol for Homer's Hold represent? That represents a thorp or village there, Anna, on the map.
Yeah, it's a thorp. It's like 20 to 60 people.
Yeah. So this is, yes, Tim got pissed off here because did I lose
Oh, you didn't lose me.
Did I lose it? Did I lose all you, or is it just, are we I'm not dropping frames.
Okay.
I'm not dropping frames. Is everyone on still?
I can hear you. So the Zoom call works.
All right. Okay. It's just on
Twitch.
It's just my Twitch is okay. All right.
Yeah.
It's bizarre because I'm losing connectivity to Twitch on my chat on my chat there. All right. Cool. Yeah, Tim was angry. Tim was angered by this and wishes he was there because he said that they corrupted the law, which is, I agree 100%. But yes, it is, Will. It is actual fear. Tim was wishing he was playing in this one because it really got out of hand. The fight was just nasty. These were corrupted by this mistress. There's Tom's character Ace Broadhead up fighting a fire elemental up top. It was just a bloody mess. So they finally figured out they got to go in and they got to clean house on these theocracy people, because these theocracy people are causing more harm than good, and that's what they did. They went in and they cleaned house on them. Really nasty fight. The summoner was 15th level. There's the Giggler. The Giggler comes in and tries to assassinate Kurzana. It was a crazy. Actually, the Giggler is the little gnome down there as well. My bad. That was an assassin who tried to take her out. And there's the flogging post. Oh, I had it all in this. This is where you take the law literally, and you really twist it. Hi. So. Yeah, Twitch getting twitchy. Go figure. So okay, I'm glad to see we're good here. So there is some of the they told the Night of the Holy Shielding side, because they started burning buildings. They started burning down all the buildings on that side, saying we got to purge all the shield landers. At one point, they put them all on the street and protected all the remaining children and all the peasants and stuff of the Holy Shielding side. This was the experiment part 2 went horribly wrong. So the perspective was, what do we do here?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This had nothing to do. This was one of those no IUZians.
Oh, so
No,
you put in some moral tests here and stuff in your
that's what this
campaign.
was.
Ooh,
This was a big
interesting.
moral test, and they kind of failed
Ah,
it at the beginning, because
okay.
they let the guy get flogged right in their scene. Oh, he broke their law. Well, the law was corrupted at the beginning, and Tim was furious. Tim was really angry. He's like, I should have been there. I would have, dealt with
Yep.
him right off the bat.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's what happened in that one. This one was a complete moral test that I wanted to see. Homer's Hold is now a mess. It's occupied, but it's susceptible to attack. It's not like Walrus Crossing, so it's on the fringe, and that may go destroyed depending on what happens at the end with the Shieldlands campaign. We will see.
Yeah.
It just depends, once again, on the grander scale. So, all right, the last one that we've done, part 4, the Night Riders. Yes, I ripped that off. I love that movie. It's one of the worst movies of all time. Jousting on motorcycles, but I love it so much that, except it's Night, not KN. Let's go back to Radiant Fork. And this is where we ended. This is the last adventure that we've done, and there's one more to go. This is part 4. And what has happened here, Sister Bertha is here, and she looks very sickly, and her whole entourage of those that are for working with everyone and are getting more and more sick, and no one can figure out what's happening. Yeah, it seemed good 4 decades ago. Yeah, I was really shocked on Patrick, on what happened in that adventure to start off, but they finally figured it out, and they finally got rid of the bad. I mean, lawful neutral can be really skewed into a really bad direction. Letter of the law,
Oh yeah, if
rigidness.
you make them obsessed about laws and then don't think about what the law, how corrupt it is, or how good or evil it is, it just
Exactly. Or
yeah,
you can make the
yeah,
law to what your will,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
it just
yeah.
it becomes a total indoctrination. So here they couldn't figure out what was happening. People were dying. All the leaders are getting more and more ill. Blinded by the blinding light. Absolutely,
Mhm.
Rob. That is the exact what I was doing there. Is I wanted to see what direction that went, and it was pretty interesting. So here's part 4. um, Something is happening and they're trying to figure it out, and they figure something is back at the keep where the lich was, because it wasn't rebuilt. um, so they went and investigate, and they found all these half spawns, and I took these and a bunch of trolls, and they were actually, it was a coven of hags had come in, and the hags were riding
I
everyone.
love covens of hags. Oh, they're so good.
The hags were
Damn,
riding
they're
them
good.
every
Yep,
night, and they were
yep.
losing con, and
Mhm.
that is what was
Oh,
happening. It was a great. I
I
mean,
used that in my Rebel Devon campaign. I had Ishma and her covens of hags.
this
Damn, that
was
was fun.
Ishmael, Svetlana, Queen
Uh-huh.
of the Night
Yep.
Hags,
Yep.
had come in, and there was anises, green hags, sea hags,
Yep.
hag spawns. They had some
I didn't
trolls.
use that many variety, but Ishma is a night hag, and then she has various Annies and a couple of green hags as her helpers that they can. And she runs next to Black Splinter. She rents a little bit of Black Splinter's backyard, and she runs a magic components shop where it's kind of you can go out there and there's some goblins that have a little inn on the way out, and if you're really ruthless and you pay well, then you can get what you want, but otherwise you would just become a component yourself, so to speak. So it's kind of, yeah.
It,
And yeah.
Hags are not to be messed with, especially night
No, and
hags.
it was so
And
fun. Yeah, it was so
oh,
fun. And there was an anise that was cooking. That was cooking with a big ladle and stuff in the backyard in the kitchen. And anyone who came in there, she would just and that was a kind of a remake of an earlier adventure I made when when I had the cook. There was hobgoblins. There was a bunch of goblins, and then there was the chieftain was a hobgoblin, a female, big female, fat female hobgoblin with the biggest cauldron that she made she cooked for everyone, and that's why the goblins stayed around. And I made her like a fourth level barbarian or something, and she has specialization. And that ladle was made out of cast iron, so it was
cast iron.
amazing. Yeah, and when the characters came in, she took that one, and they were like, "Oh, they're staring," and she wouldn't want to jump in the cauldron, and they started fighting with her. And she took that ladle, and she rolled like a super crit the first time and just killed the first character coming in, and they were terrified. That was a wonderful fight. And what she did afterwards, when she knocked one of them, and then she tilted the whole cauldron, and it became like slippery the whole corridor away. So they had to the way to get out was to crawl upwards in a slippery
Oh,
corridor up, and they had to fight. And she had, because she was so slippery, so she had special shoes on that was kind of spikes on, so she could walk on it. And damn, that was a difficult encounter. She butchered almost half the party, and it was damn hard before they killed, because that was a lot of fun. So I thought Ishma had a cook in there, but the characters never got in, so I didn't. Otherwise, I would have run a kind of a new version of the same encounter like 20 years later. But we had a lot of fun playing around, and they were terrified of these, and they were not really enemies. They had to bribe them well and hand over yummy stuff, whatever. Then they were good. So as long as customers were useful, more useful in giving them stuff, they could go. But as soon as minute they didn't pay and or didn't do yummy stuff, they would try and kill them and put them in the pot, so to speak. So it was, yeah, that was a lot of fun.
so I forgot one thing. Going back to the previous one, the character who was stationed up in Homer's Hold was Walt's PC Garrett, who is a Knight of the Holy Shielding, and he was the one that got flogged. Yeah, Walt, thank you. I completely forgotten that the knight who was getting flogged was your guy. Absolutely. So, needless to say, all the trolls in this were basically fodder just to throw them
Hmm.
in, and the hags.
Yep.
It was a nasty fight. They got through this
Yep.
fight. They found that once they killed off, and this was a multi-weeker. Once they killed
Yep.
off the hags, some of the.
Barbarian trolls are the nastiest
Oh
ever.
my
But I talked
gosh.
that in an earlier show when I talked about I use experiments in abyssal trolls, black trolls.
Oh.
Damn, they were nasty. That was some of the worst monsters I've
Oh.
come up with, and that was a couple of them at a battle. That was, ooh, it was nasty. Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun torturing my players, and that's right. I completely and literally in that. So
Yeah.
this fight finished up, and they have freed Radiant Fork from these hags killing trying to suck off their souls
Yeah.
basically, which can be really nasty. That is where we ended. So I want to go over to what the last adventure is in this series, and that is the word is a major Iusian army has come from Niren down the road and is on its way to Ringland. Well, to finally attempt to take out that area, which has which demons cannot enter and evil creatures cannot enter due to antipathy. But that's a feint. So what they have found out on the feint is that a lot of the Iusians are heading to the ruins of the Gradivis estate because some relic of power is actually buried there at the Grand Rapids Estate. So a key group of adventurers will go off, and that'll be the last adventure of this, and that'll determine, if they're successful or not, who this part of the campaign, who is successful and wins, and how far in does Ayers retake land,
Yeah.
or does and that'll be it. And that'll be a super high level fight. So Sorrows has got. Hey, Sorrows, I know you got to do your stream. So probably see you in a little bit. All right. But thank you for hanging in there. So that's where we are. This part 5, I plan on running, I don't know, third week in December, trying to finish this up for 2020 to get this cleared off 2020 schedule. So that is what the fun that we have going on in the Shieldlands. Now, if anyone has any questions about locations or customizations, let me know. Anna's been fantastic with all the edits here, and it's a
Yeah, now we
confirmation.
come up, we put a couple of more to put on the list to do for.
Yeah,
Yeah, we had to fix the typo in the.
Yeah, that's just a minor thing, but I thought of one that I forgot over in the county of Ulick too. So at some point we can get to that too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's talk about this knight class. So you hear me talking about members of a knighthood and a knight class are two different things. If you have the Dragonlance book, okay, there's one thing I like in it, and it's the organizations of the Knights of the Crown, Rose. What's the
Is that
second one?
the 3.3rd edition?
No, this is old school 1E, 2E.
Oh yeah, okay. I have
in the original Dragonlance book, they have the Knights of the Rose, and they have the Knights of the Crown, and the Knights of the Sword, I think it is. Okay. Sword. Thank you, Greenlee. Yes. So I love the way they were set up in tiers, and we kind of went that way early on with this Knight class, which is a hybrid of a specialty priest and a fighter paladin, kind of. And now they don't have to necessarily be lawful good, but that tends to be what this hybrid is. So I have 3 of these, the Knight class. There's Knights of the Holy Shielding. When I saw that there was a specialty, a prestige class of the Knights of Holy Shielding that had been done living Greyhawk, I said, I don't want to go that direction. I want to back convert it to a 1E, 2E that we've done. Let me just shorten that a little bit. And this is what we've come up with, and that's Knight of Holy Shielding, Knight of the Heart, Knight of Ulick. They're all their own classes. If you are one of those classes when you start at first level, your intention is to join that knighthood. Okay? If you read this, it says, for Knights of the Holy Shielding, must petition the order for full membership upon attaining 4th level. Failure to gain entry or removal from the order will revert the character to a fighter, base fighter, a cavalier, or a Saxon, which is a foot knight, depending on your statistics and your background. So if you fail entering to the knighthood that you seek to join as a specialty class, you become a normal one of those other ones. Okay? Simple. This class's experience table is way worse than Paladin. You know how bad Paladin is. So, Anna the Map Master. What man? This is all Planet Buster. It's all Anna. Thank you. By the way, thank you for that follow.
Yep. I'm going to put the links in
Anna's
here.
Anna's gonna throw in some links.
Yeah, then you can go and get it, and it's a free download. So just go in and download it. And there's heraldry and a whole bunch of other stuff. So it's available at my website, and I also have a Patreon. So if you want to help me do more Greyhawk maps and stuff, you can just sign up.
And what I've said is that Anna's Patreon is the most affordable $5 a month you're ever going to spend with all the stuff that Anna does. And I know I'm spoiled because Anna custom edits the map, but we help each other out with what we're doing for Greyhawk and for the community. I get some really really nice touches on this. And the reason I could share with you my Shieldland story is because the maps are all updated and done, and they're beautiful, and I can zoom them in and all, and it makes it very easy.
I can also say that the Illustrator file that I use is available for download on my website. So if you have Illustrator, you can download it and make your own version of the map,
which is really cool.
And they are Creative Commons, so you have the right to make your own version and tweak it, and then share it and use it on your website. So it's Creative Commons. So you can share it, alter it, whatever. So the only thing I require is that you name me as the original source of the original map. That's it. So then you can use it for any non-commercial purposes, so
You
to
will
speak.
see every Thursday night, I will have the map of the area that we're adventuring in on the entry screen with my custom edits blown up, put it up so you can see where we're adventuring in Greyhawk. You
Yeah.
can all can do the same thing. So Extort, the Saxon class, I went over in dealing with the damage dealers. That Gabbin, you have to check the number on that. Someone can look that up for me. It's delving into the damage dealers. I think it's in the 50s. That Saxon is a foot knight. Actually, Sashor Score and Bill created that class. It is like a cavalier, except they are not mounted warrior types. But they're based off of Cavalier, and they can double specialize with pole arms and two-handed sword, unlike other classes. They're the only ones in my campaign that can. That's their difference. They're massive damage dealers. It's a cool class. So yes, but like I said, with all these classes, I know I should start writing up stuff. I'm going to keep on doing more and more in hopefully in Earth Journal. All right, so Knights of the Holy Shielding. The Knight of the Holy Shielding can be lawful good, lawful neutral. They have clerical spells if they are worshippers of either Ilmater or Heronius, I believe it is. They get access to their specialty priest. Here's their special abilities that they get each per day. I have these all broken down by each night. They're all different. Okay, some of these are second edition spells, or some of them maybe even third if you don't know what they are. But there are their special abilities they get as they go up in level. Alrighty, some really cool things. Here's their experience table. If you notice at 10th, it goes from 800,000 to 1.5 million. It is a nasty, and then it's 500,000 per level after that. Way worse than Cavalier Paladin, because this is a hybrid of a priest and a paladin. So you got to earn. I start with 2 hit dice, which is pretty good. But then they max out at 10 hit dice at 9th level. But it is still a nasty, nasty table. And all the tables are for this are the same based on whichever knight you are. If I had Knights of the Watch in my campaign, I would make a Knight of the Watch class. I just don't have them. I don't utilize them. Yes, they start out with 2 hit die, which like a ranger, but it's die 10s. All right. Here is the table. Wisdom bonus applies. So Knights of the Holy Shielding, if they are Heronius or Imlater, will get their specialty priest spell lists. Which remember, Bastion of Faith has an unbelievable amount of specialty priest spells for Heronius. Okay, Ilmater is because it's in my campaign. The Gradivises and a lot of other more good aligned. The really good do-gooders and the knighthoods of the Holy Shielding, a lot of them are Ilmater, and then others may only use the standard cleric list, which is Unearthed Arcana, which has a couple added spells, player's option, and stuff like that. So, all right, and that's the spell list, and they get their wisdom bonus. The other 2 knight classes, the Knight of the Heart. If you Alan has Dominique, but she didn't play last week in the group that we were doing, the Omega Patrol, and she's actually a Knight of the Heart class. So Knights of the Heart are from Fiondi, Violana, High Forest. There's 3 divisions. This applies to all 3 divisions of them. And they could be any good alignment. Lawful good, neutral good, chaotic good. Okay, so it can be any of those. Human, half elven, elven are all fine here for Knights of the Heart, especially the High Forest. All right. Here's the Knight of the Heart special abilities. They have a really cool thing, the Study Opponent. It's pretty cool, and No Mercy is pretty cool at higher level. They're very good at fighting, and they can, they get some other pretty neat things along with spells. Thank you very much there, Katana. What number was that? If you, I'm interested to see how close I was. 28. Oh my God, it was that old, long ago.
Wow.
Holy jeez. I think archers are discussed there too. And then, of course, the Knight of Ulick, which I gotta have, right? So the Knight of Ulick, you can be once again, all good alignments. You don't have to be just lawful good. Human, elven, half elven in my campaign is limited to this knight class. Yeah, there is Green Lantern, and that's what we do too. And it's called Armorial Gold, but it's not cheap. What is it, $85 for the full
Yeah, something
license?
like, and it's also just a bunch of components that you can
You need
you have to
Photoshop.
use. Yeah, Photoshop or some similar core. I think it's based on Corel, so if you have the Corel graphic suite, I think it's perfect. But it works in Illustrator and Photoshop as well. But it's developed using Corel, so it's their graphics change format, so to speak. But it's expensive and a bit tedious to use. But it has whole bunch of stuff. But on the other hand, if you just want to use it for your own private campaign use, you can probably just Google these images if you have Photoshop skills and stuff. But if you want one package with all the heraldry you ever want to need and more, then Memorial Gold is fantastic. But it is a little bit tedious because you have to disassemble them if you don't want them exactly the way they are. But they are vector art, but they are Corel Exchange graphics. So it's a weird graphics format that only works in, as far as I know, in the Corel graphics suite. It works perfect. In Photoshop and Illustrator,
Yeah.
it works kind of, so to speak. So yeah.
So up top here, that's Brian. Brian. All right. I made that one.
Yeah.
That that that's Narwhal. That's Narwhal Headhunters. I made that one.
Hmm.
They're another one, another one. These are all ones I made in Armorial Gold using
Yeah.
Photoshop that Anna taught me how to use. Once
Yeah.
you get a hang of it, it's not too tough to
No,
utilize.
it's just that it
Yeah,
requires a bit of Photoshop
yeah. And so all
skills.
these I've
Don't you?
made, made,
Yep. Hmm.
made.
Yep.
That one everyone laughs at, the Amazons of the Crimson
Well,
Moon,
it's
but
the strawberry.
yeah, the strawberry. So
Yep. Hmm.
yeah, so no, Armorial Gold is the site, and it has a lot of graphics and a lot of base shield designs.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
it's not cheap to get all of them. I
No,
think it,
it's not. But
yeah,
if you want to create heraldry for your campaign,
that's where to go.
it's an awesome way. Yeah. And they're
So
all medieval looking, but you can tweak it. You can use
yeah.
some Armorial Gold, and then you can use some your own design or something you find on the internet somewhere. So you can mix and match, and that way you can create all sorts of awesome heraldry.
So you may not know what a lot of these spells do, and I'm gonna discuss that on maybe next week's show on tweaks and little quirks that we have in our game. But Harkalo, Godspeed, Exaltation, Storm, Swordfire. Hey, we're using a Forgotten Realms spell, but it fits perfectly in what it does to
Yeah.
immolate a sword or weapon. Holy Smite, Shield of the God, which is a Mayheen spell. That is also a Helm spell that we converted over, if I recall correctly. So I'm not a high hell rip off back from them. They do it enough to us, right?
Yeah.
So let me start the scroller back up here and just let it run through. So the night class is working well. We can ask my players. We have all three of them being utilized in the game, which is good. Um, it changes it brings a flavor to the knights, the knighthoods themselves, having a specialty class that you can be right off from first level. I really dislike prestige classes because I'm not a 3035 guy, but that's okay. um, and I don't know where, the Shieldlands campaign. If you play in the Shieldlands, I guarantee you my game is as varied as yours is, as Anna's is, as anyone else's is, because of the way it was open ended in this From the Ashes box set. It got really, really, I mean, you could go almost any direction because there's so much to do. There's so many different areas you could try and retake. There's just,
Yeah.
the Bandit Kingdoms are there, right?
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah, for warlike night battles and stuff like that, Shieldland is fantastic, and it's also the rich history with there's so many enemies, and you can have the good knights being battled to almost oblivion, and you can save them, or you can have courtly intrigues, and you have lots of evil ones are everywhere to be found. So it's yeah, it's a great area. The only problem I see with Shieldlands is that geographically it doesn't have that many cool features. There is no big
it's very flat.
forests,
Yeah.
and it's kind of flat and featureless that way. I'm trying to remedy that with the new generation map because I'm setting up a campaign in the Shieldlands. So I want to have a much more detailed map because when you don't have any major mountains, no major forests or something, you have a coastline to the near div that just look like a boring coastline. So you need more little detail. There's no major mountains, no major hills or anything like that. So you have to, when it comes to that, you can't have iconic big features that way. So it needs to be more political, military, intrigue, kind of that kind of thing. Not going
Yeah.
exploring the biggest forest in the world or any of that. So so in that way it's limited. But what you can do in Shieldlands, you can do amazingly, so to speak. And especially if you want Greyhawk flavors, you have plenty to choose from in that area.
You
Yeah.
can really tweak it and just have fun with it.
Yeah.
So what if something else gets destroyed? Most of it's destroyed anyway, right? So
Exactly. It's one of these areas that get run over. It's a bit like Poland or something in the real world that managed to get run over in every other war back in the poor back in history. Now it's been thankfully not so the last since World War II, but it's one of these countries that end up in trouble simply out of geographical location. You don't have that many features that stops enemies. So shield lands get run over by one or the other factions, and when you're surrounded by a lot of evil factions, then you can have, and also not only evil, but you have the bandit kingdoms and stuff. But next door you have one of the major geographical features in the setting, and that's the White Plume Mountain. So you have a huge volcano just next door, so to speak, and the Rift Canyon is not too far away. So there are not too far away. You have a couple of cool really cool features, geographical features that you can turn into. And there are forests not in Shieldlands much, but you have next door, you have the Fellreave and
yeah.
so the tangles and stuff. So they are, if you, but then you have to zoom out and you have to go beyond the realm of Shieldlands itself, so to speak. But it's more political intrigue, battles, grounds, and stuff that is really useful for that.
And I don't have the red hand here, which some people have over in this area,
Yeah,
right? And Alhaster, I don't have the red hand. You can have the
yeah,
red
that
hand
was
there too.
yeah. It's Paiso Hawk. That was Eric
Yeah,
Mona and James Jacobs and Bullman and
yeah.
the others at Paiso that invented and took the eastern part, very eastern part of Shieldlands and
This
invented
area over
the
here.
city of Alhester and a lot of political applications and stuff for the Age of Worms campaign, which is kind of cool. So they added to it, and then that was fitted into the Living Greyhawk campaign as well. So that was an area that just was part of Shieldlands or Bandit Kingdoms, depending on what source you, because that's one of these vague areas, borderland between Bandit Kingdoms and Shieldland. It wasn't really defined until Paiso and Eric Mona and company at Paiso put kind of set it, detailed it, set a campaign and a whole adventure path in there. And then in Living Greyhawk, they kind of that was part. It was detailed in Living Greyhawk, and then they did even more in the Paiso Hawk or the with Age of Worms. So that was kind of when it became gobbled up in the Empire of Ayus. That eastern part of the Shieldlands became separated from the rest of Shieldlands, and what happened to that is kind of up to you because not much have been detailed. So yeah,
Absolutely. You
yeah,
can have, like I did early on, the Bandit Kingdoms coming in and
yeah,
invading. Yeah,
mhm,
you could have Charybdis and White Plume Mountain
yeah.
causing
Mhm.
trouble.
Yeah, and then
You,
you have Morgensthaler,
yep,
another cool invention from the Living Greyhawk
yep.
era. I use Bandit Kingdoms, meaning
Horn
yeah,
Society, Free
Free
Reavers. If you
Reavers.
go
I
back that
use Horn
far,
Society,
yeah,
meaning there's plenty of bad guys, evil baddies you can use, and also just the chaotic ones. You have the assassins of what is it? Hang on a second here. I need to Abara, the assassins headquarters in Abara. You have the war fields that was kind of the battleground, even worse than Shieldlands. There you have the kind of the one of the worst battlegrounds in the whole of the Flan East is that area in between,
yep.
going back from even the Flan the days of the Flans. So you have so you
There's
have
a
plenty of cool stuff to deal with, and you have the great effluvial swamp with Thing Gizzard's hut and Juju zombies, I think it is up
yeah.
there, and so meaning there are plenty of awesome good campaign goodies to put in this area. Surprisingly, from if you look at it at the on the Darlene map, it's just a green blob. That's it.
Yeah.
There's nothing else.
And that is the great thing about the area that drew me to it was some
Oh,
things that
Dragotha.
yeah. Oh my God, yeah,
Meaning,
absolutely.
and Keraptis, Dragotha,
Yeah.
Morgenstaller, meaning, yeah, the list is long and distinguished when it comes to possible enemies you can weave to your adventuring in the Shieldlands.
A couple things to remember. Whatever organization you have fighting evil should not be just black and white. Make the make it levels of gray like I have the Knights of the Holy Shielding, and there's always going to be someone in there that thinks they know how to do it better than anyone else, and that adds a little bit that third layer of intrigue. Now I've thrown in the theocracy as well because everyone can't stand them in that lawful neutral aspect. I like using them as a thorn in the side. They don't have to be a thorn in the side though, so you gotta play that off, and that's
Yeah,
just kind of the things I've
yeah,
done because just fighting E is all right,
yeah,
great. I use
yeah,
E is just
yeah,
fighting them
and
straight up. All right,
mhm.
you can do
Yeah,
that.
and I put in merchants from Greyhawk and stuff to fill,
Yeah,
put that in kind of neutral, greedy, just not too evil, kind of shades of gray, because I think that's also very important. You should not only have the pure good ones and the pure evil ones. There should be a whole range in
yep,
between, so to speak. So
absolutely. And it's
yeah,
easy to do here. And there's so many references. And if you guys want to, guys, girls, have any other questions on references, you can go all the way back to the Free City Greyhawk box set. That's where you can start and then work your way
yeah,
forward. You know, once again, I'll show off my shrink wrap version, but you go from
yeah,
there and work your way
hmm,
forward. The From
yeah,
the Ashes box set has a lot of information in it. I think they've took stuff way too far, and but you can go to the Living Greyhawk era and see what they've done too,
yeah,
and add levels of complexity. Real life is very complicated, so I don't know what's going to happen here in this final adventure we're going to do, which will be at the end of 2020. But it'll be high level and it'll be a lot of just mass combat, of course, at the Gradavis estate, and we'll see. And hopefully Tim can play in that one and be there for it, and we'll see what happens. But and then we'll go in 2021. So that's how we'll end up the year. But the Shillans
mhm,
campaign is like where the most action is as far as warring between armies in my campaign right now. I mean, the Vespi Forest would probably be the second area, but this is where the real action is. So like I said, we got to finish up this part 5, and we will do that. And hopefully you enjoyed the discussion. I know it was a lot to go over, like it
yeah.
always is.
It's
Um,
awesome. So many much cool information about
Thanks.
your campaign. That was, yeah, a lot
A
of fun.
lot of NPCs, and it's you
Mhm.
got to keep track of them, but they're referenced. Like I said, go to that dungeon 113 to get the Knights of the Holy Shielding. Go to go to Bastion of Faith to get the Priests of Heronius and the Shield Reclaimed, and those locations. Thank you. All right, so Anna, what's going on in your neck of the woods here? We are, well, yeah, thank you. Planet, it's 40 years old. My campaign is in its 40th year. We started in 1980. This is year 40, and this is literally we're on adventure number 892.
Yeah.
So, and this is like our 2660th setting. We estimate we don't even know how many settings it's been. So, uh, you know what you want to do? All right, we'll do the announcements and we'll do the drawings. How's that sound? Because
Yeah.
we got
Perfect.
four giveaways. Go for it.
Okay. Okay. So yeah. So this week there's, unfortunately, I've been drawn away for other real world events and stuff. There is an election coming up and stuff, and I'm getting kind of tied up in that. So I'm sorry for all the ones that were missing things that I should have answered emails and been to. But real world event. But that doesn't tie me, because I see making Greyhawk maps for my all you guys patrons that pay me, that is real work. So that is being done. So the latest thing, and I haven't written about a blog post about it, but if you go to the Atlas, it's on my website. There is a link to the Atlas folder, and there is now the appendix, the heraldry appendix. The first 6 pages I just posted to the Dropbox folder, heraldry pages, for the first appendix to the 576 Atlas. And to my opinion, in my opinion, they are the best looking graphics I've ever created. They look gorgeous. Yeah, they just look fantastic. So and what I did was that the shields are not just the version you see on the map and the ones that I have downloadable as PNGs, they are just flat graphics, flat, simple vector graphics, because they're going to be on a map with thousands of other features. So I can't make them too fancy, and they're small scale. But I realized the atlas is supposed to be printed on 11 by 17, so they needed to be good quality. So what I did was that I took a 3D render of a shield, like a metal shield, and then I superimposed the graphics on there and made them look so it looks like a real metal shield with the painted on it. Oh, they look gorgeous. So I plan to all the shields will get this conversion and will come out in high resolution, not just for the atlas, that will be the first thing, but they look so good. So there will be a series of PNGs that the shields actually look like this in high resolution. That will come, because I can't resist it. It looks so damn good. So it's coming. So that is the big thing. And also there is now a post that I've only posted to my Patreon so far, where I show more about my next generation Greyhawk mapping coming out. And that is, it's on the test stage first, and will only be used. I will try and make use of it for my campaign. We use and now we're talking shield lands in 5 feet per pixel, and they are not anywhere near done yet. But I've done
Wow.
a few test areas in 5 feet per pixel, and it looks good and it works. So that opens up a new, very, very interesting can of worms in the future. So that will be, but that's mainly for next year. So Lendor Isles is still the first one area to get officially mapped using this technology, so to speak, or this standard, and it's going to look fantastic. You can do just like you do dungeon maps, you can do overland mapping at almost the same, meaning you can see trees and houses and stuff
Oh
like
my
that. So
gosh.
anything that is bigger than 5 feet is on the map, and it looks gorgeous. You can see roads and stuff. So it's kind of, you can literally see, and they are 3D, so they will be top down. They will come in all sorts of versions, and yeah, there's many different ways. And the important thing is that it creates the data, so we can present it in many different ways down the road, so to speak. And they will come in the future with source files, so you can get the Photoshop textures and the whole shebang, so you can put roads and stuff where you want them. So that will be, yeah, that will be presented, but it's in the test phase. The Lendor Isles will be the first official one coming out. I'm not really sure when, but sometime next spring for sure. And as soon as this damn election is over with, so I get some free time back, and then that will be, then I will talk to Len even more, and we will do Lendor Isle, so that will be presented in full glory. So it's kind of, yeah. So that's
Awesome.
what's going on. So things are, yeah, it's not much being done, but what's being done looks really, really good. And there's a whole bunch of stuff in the early stages too. So now I know what I'm going to do for the next 5 years or something. So yeah, so it's going to be fun.
No, Patrick Canadian, I don't have a mug, but I do have mouse pads. So
Oh yeah, you
I
have
had
mouse
mouse pads I
pads.
was going to give out at GaryCon last year, and they're
Yeah,
still sitting here. I get
yeah,
giving a couple out, but yeah, I don't have mugs. I got the shirts, but the collared shirts, but I don't have mugs like Blue Box has. But that's cool. So good question. So all right, we got a lot going on as usual. So Len will be back Wednesday, according to what Len told us on his email. And Wednesday night is boom,
yeah. We
Living
missed
Greyhawk
you.
Nyrond. So we will have at
Yeah,
least two of the triads, maybe three now, in on this. Maybe consider mugs. And the mouse pads were like, I was like, I got them cheap, and I got them, and I was just going to give them out for attending the seminar at GaryCon last year, and then COVID hit, and so I have a fair number of them still. Um, but I may do an order for something else. It's a possibility. So you got I'm interested in this because I know nothing about Nyrond at all. I want to see what happened during the Living Greyhawk era.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I'm really
yeah,
curious.
it'll be
Yeah.
interesting. I know Renee Ayala will be joining the group and a couple other individuals on that. And Casey's, I, I won't make dice. I'll let Stratagem supply those dice, the fumble dice. Absolutely. And then we will finish up our Awakening of the Terrors adventure, which really got some. I appreciate all the nice comments about how awesome the terrain and the storyline was on that from on Thursday night. We'll finish that this Thursday. The week after will be a Halloween special on October 29th too. So we will get to both of those. This will be what is behind this evil awakening, because they fought outside of Defile's End. There's been Shadows, Slow Shadows, and now Sword Race, which are one of my favorite Greyhawk monsters that was
Yeah.
created. And they've come across them.
Yeah.
What is behind? Wait till you see on that. And then what's going on Gabbin next week? Barring it, having a guest, which is probably about a 25% chance at this point. So everyone always asks me this question, and I'm going to answer it, and maybe we're going to have some other guests on to answer their questions. What edition are you? And rules
Ooh, that's
quirks.
a good one. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's an interesting. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm not going to have an edition war discussion,
No, 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 no.
but we're going to
It's
talk about.
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Gitano. I can't wait for it as well.
Yeah. And if we
That
have Leonard on, then you will be the new edition, and Leonard is the old edition guy.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Leonard will be. And the reason I brought this up was a couple of was also because Leonard is like, oh, you can't do that, you can't do critical hits, you can't. I think I just hit a wrong button here. Hopefully I don't crash everything. Um, yeah, it looks like nothing happened. I was like, uh-oh. But you know how that goes. Uh,
Yeah.
so there you go,
It
Anna.
can
Your
be
maps are
interesting.
beautiful, and I just wanted to
Yeah, I
say
saw
thanks
that.
for the
Yep. Mm-hmm.
inspiration. That's
Yep. Thank
awesome
you
to
so
hear.
much. Yep.
Um, Please, if you would give us. Yeah, Anna's on twice a week. Sometimes and plays in my game a lot too. So please, if you're here, give us a follow. We'd appreciate it. That would be awesome. So
It will be Crunch next week.
yes,
That's fun.
Thursday
Yep.
night we do that, and then yeah. So, what edition are you in rules quirks? We'll go over. I have the Book of Hallowed Might, which is a sword and sorcery book I use. There's a quirk with a lot of
Yep.
spells in it. We'll discuss that, and
That will
we'll.
be fun.
It'll
Yep.
be a fun one, and I
Mm-hmm.
already reached out to some other people who may want to participate in that
Oh,
as well. So,
wonderful. Yep.
and then we have a special event set up. Oh, thank you very much for that. Thank you so very much. And this is our next special game that is scheduled. We may have one before this, but our next Living Greyhawk All Stars that's scheduled, Geoff style with the Barrier Geeks,
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Saturday, November 21st, the Saturday before Thanksgiving. We will have this
Yep.
whole crew back. Anna, hopefully you
I'm
will.
an honorary Living Greyhawk member. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that was nice, Patrick. Thank you so very much for doing that gift sub.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. So Eric Mengi, Shalom West, Rob Kannerman, David Quick, Jose Ortiz. I believe all of them have confirmed already. So
Oh, wonderful.
I
You
haven't
see,
decided what the adventure is going to be yet in Greyhawk, but it will be out of Greyhawk City with the Barrier Geeks. And
mm-hmm.
Anna will be joining them.
Yeah.
Anna, your character Imri is 6'6" now. She went up in Ranger, so
Oh,
there you go.
awesome.
Yep.
Yay.
Yep, absolutely. So, given that you've
Yep.
been running SynCam for 40 years, the rule system you use makes perfect. Well, thank you, Rob Phantom. I appreciate that, and we're going to discuss that a little bit. Um, and I want other people to talk about what they do differently. So, like if I have Will on, I asked Will to come on. If he can come on, that would be great
Yeah.
for a little bit and just talk about what he's looking to do. I know he's looking to make some changes.
Yeah, because rules is the interesting because it's the type of game you want to run.
I may have jumped.
And you and your player want to run. That means that you have to find the rule system that works for you and your group.
Yeah,
That's
Will's
the
in,
key, so to
definitely.
speak. Yep.
Yeah, Will's a definite. So we'll have
Oh,
William
awesome.
Henry Dvorak a
Great.
definite on
Yep.
Sunday. There are Mysterious Tim who does things a lot differently than I do. And I may have Tim come on because Tim does weapon proficiency, non-weapon proficiencies a lot more than I do, and so we may have Tim come on.
Yeah.
He's more pure 1E than I am, and just that's and I just want to just get it out there and just everyone talk about little nuances to maybe give you some ideas,
Yeah.
and that's fobbing back and forth almost useless on days I didn't get a good idea. Yeah, understood. So yes, how to use Troller Games or other company products in 5 years? That's a good question, Extort. I'll show you how I do it. I'll show you what I did for Shadows of the Halfling Hall. I'll explain that. And yes, Wiley does a lot of Pathfinder, the original Pathfinder and Greyhawk, which is cool too. So maybe we'll see who wants to come on and have a little. We'll have 9 people on, but maybe we'll have 4 or 5
Yeah.
on here. And Troll Lord, Chuck couldn't be on tonight, but Chuck has some
Oh,
stuff in
but
the
that's interesting.
works.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He has some stuff in the works.
Yeah.
So that is,
That looks cool.
what one last, yeah, you like that? That's a
Yeah.
great ruin piece,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. And lastly, we'll see about the date on this is
Oh,
still
yeah.
probably pretty much. I'm gonna have a meeting. Our next Great Elk Mega stream is in February of 2021, but we're gonna have a meeting on that to discuss it with all the possible streamers involved. All right, so let's close out the giveaway. There's 4 of them. Alrighty. Let me get my notes out here. I will. First 2 will be $10 unless you want specifically Shadows of the Halfling Hall. Tell me. And the second 2 will be Shadows of the Halfling Hall digital downloads. Okay, so we're doing 4 of them. $10 for Troller Game coupon. $10 for Troller Game coupon. Then Shadows of the Halfling Hall. Shadows of the Halfling Hall. All right. So I think you're in some. Oh, thank you, Dorgam. I really appreciate it. I know I talked a lot during this one, but
That was the point.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's good to have a little bit smaller group just down to me instead of having 9 people on where things don't get don't get around as quickly. All right, here we go. I'm going to close this out, and let me make sure that I can draw this off of. Okay, where is my Streamlabs? Oh, there it is. Okay, let me close this out. If you haven't followed, please do. Really appreciate the support tonight. We're getting close to our monthly goal. Thank you all for the support. I really appreciate it because without the crew here, without you all watching with these great numbers, oh, that's awesome to hear, Patrick. Really awesome to hear. And
Yeah.
I'm trying to get to it here, Cloud. So there you
It's a
go.
talk show. Yep.
Yes, I know what to do. I want to make sure I do it properly and hit the right buttons and not mess something up here. All right, we got a lot of. Oh, by the way, Thursday night is Gamescape 3D again giveaways.
Oh,
So if you have a 3D printer, Thursday night's game, Jeremy from our great sponsor Gamescape 3D. I know Amy's got a printer. I know McGlew's got a printer. I know Retro
and
Gamer
you're
Meth's
working
got a
on your
printer.
second one in your gaming group,
Well,
or
we'll
you're
see.
thinking
We'll
about
see.
it.
Bill
Yeah.
said, "Don't do it to me because I'm so I can't keep up as it is." So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
here we go. Closing out the entries. All right, this first one's a $10 gift certificate. Unless you want the shadows, here we go. First winner, Disfamous. There you go, man. Grats. $10 gift cert. Great. Congrats, man.
Yeah.
Okay. That's $10. All right. And I can whisper these right to you in chat, in the chat in here, which makes it easy for these. Okay. Ready for the second winner? Asher. There you go,
Yay.
Asher.
Yeah. 2 great winners here. That's
Yep. Sure, the winner on that one. All right, the final 2 are for Troller Games actual downloads directly of Shadows of the Halfling Hall. Oh, no, Asher took Shadows of the Halfling Hall as one of them, so the next one's $10. Cool, man. Thank you, Asher. All right, next one. Winner is Crazy Cyber. Crazy Cyber. Is Crazy Cyber on? I'm looking. Crazy Cyber is on. I see him in chat list, so Crazy Cyber. Just want to make sure you were on. You are. That's 10. And then the last Shadows of the Halfling Hall. Here we go. You got it, man. $10. I will whisper you the code for the Troller Games site. Here is the site, is right there on the store, right? It says troller.com TLG store, and then click the Tiny Earl and for their Kickstarter as well. Last winter. Wiley's and Troller are a great sponsor.
Yeah.
Clover, clever, CL3VER underscore. You on? And that'll be a Shadows of the Halfling Hall copy. I don't see him on. Uh-oh. We may have to draw another one. Wait a minute. He's not on. I don't see him on, and don't see him. Give him 10 more seconds. I don't think he's on. So we're gonna get to draw another one. 10, 9, 8. I don't think he's on. Okay. All right. One more drawing. Winner. Grape Ape is on. Grape Ape Texas. TX. I know he's on. There you go, Grape. And you get a Shadows of the Halfling Hall copy as well. I love that adventure. And we're going to be placing more of Troller Games stuff in my campaign around Narwhal.
Yeah.
All right. I've gotten the Hanged Man. I've gotten Shades of Mist. I've gotten on Carpy. I've gotten Dark Journey and a couple others coming as well. So thank you, and just remember we got more giveaways on every Thursday night as well. So we're gonna raid Sour's Tale tonight. All right. I don't think he's live recording yet, but he is on. Have I ever run a Carlos J? Yes. Carlos wrote 3 adventures for me. He wrote 3, and in 2019, I ran them all in my campaign, and I have those copies.
You did a project. Was it last year at Gen Con? You did a
Gen Con in 2019. We did.
Yeah, 2019. Yeah.
We did Horror in the Hools
Yep.
together, and he's gonna publish that too. But yes, so just be patient with me, everyone. I will get you those codes. I got to do some closing stuff. Amy, have a good night. Thank you all for coming on.
Oh yeah, thank you so much.
I ran. Carlos was kind enough to write 3 adventures for my campaign, all in the
Yeah.
Principality of Gulick for that group, and I ran them all, and they were cool. So yeah, very neat
Thank
stuff.
you so much, everyone in chat. It's been awesome. A lot of good comments and wonderful questions and stuff tonight.
Yeah, it was a great night, and I really appreciate all the support. And I will see you all Wednesday night for Legends and Lore. And it'll be a great discussion with the Living Greyhawk triads from Niron. So let's do the raid in, and let me hit the right button here to end out the stream. Boom. Look at that. Only a half hour past normal time. So
yeah.
That's all good, man. Appreciate that. All right, setting up the raid. Sorrows is a newer stream doing Greyhawk, so just remember that and give him a little love when you go over there. Okay, we're gonna raid over in 15 seconds. See if we can get it up to 50. 44 is good. Awesome. All right, we'll see you all Wednesday night. Have a good one. All right. Whew. Alrighty, awesome, Anna.
Yeah, this was fun. Awesome. Yeah.
I never know. I never know if I'm talking too much during these. It's tough. You know
No,
what I
you
mean? When I'm
didn't. This